Yo, what's up? This is Renz. Going live again. If Facebook app right. All right. So Facebook is not acting right. We're gonna get this together. I know we missed yesterday when we were supposed to be going live, but I had a dental appointment, so that did not work itself out. So we are going live today, right where we were supposed to do yesterday. Of course, we're not gonna skip out on our Genesis, our reading of this book. As far as they say we need to read it, so we reading it, and we reading it with logic, with intelligence. Give some people to get some time on. If you're finding me for the first time, we get started about 5-6 minutes into the video. Right now we at a minute, 19 seconds, and 20 seconds, somewhere around in there. We get started in about 5 minutes or less. This is Why I Left Religion with Coach Renz, and we are doing our normally on Tuesday we do What's Wrong with the Bible, but couldn't do it yesterday, had dental appointment, so today we're doing it. Thursday we're still going to continue with the Kabbalion and so on and so forth. This channel is not meant to try to convince people to leave their religion. So if you are a Christian, you want to be Christian, you steadfast, stay there. I'm not trying to change you. This is for people who are deconstructing from Christianity or any ism that they desire to deconstruct from. We are just going through the Bible. A lot of people tend to ask me why the Bible. Greenville, South Carolina. What's up, Derek? It's because the one I grew up with is the one that has done more damage to my people than anything else. I'm the owner of Smoking Phoenix Cigar Lounge as well. So if me smoking a cigar bothers you, you probably shouldn't be on this channel. All right. But we are. Everybody got good sound. Let me give. I just leave it like that. Let me get TikTok better sound with the microphone that I forgot to put in. Oh, the main thing I forgot to put the plug in. We stay on here as long as we possibly can. As I said, I own a cigar lounge, so we'll stay on here until definitely noon. But if I don't have customers that walk in the door by a certain time frame, then we will continue. Until customers walk in that I just really can't stay on here, because business comes before pleasure. Now, also, what up, Chuck? Thank you for the compliment about the hat, my guy. Was that Master Bald Eagle? I don't have my glasses on yet, so I can't see everything clearly. Thank you. Appreciate that, Chuck. Oh, so a couple of things. I want you guys to do me a favor. 2 channels I want you to go check out. If you just like some random ass facts, just random things, like I know 2 videos are up there right now called Really Did You Know? If you want some random facts about things like where did the term jaybird come from? Where did the term jaybird come from? Why did they throw the bouquet at a wedding? Random facts about things that we normally use as colloquialisms or things like that. I want you to go to Really Did You Know on any channel that you're on right now, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, or TikTok. Really Did You Know? It's a little cartoon character girl with a little ponytail, with a little puff. So Really Did You Know? That's one of the. I want you to go to that channel. Really Did You Know? With A. Sheffield. I want you to go check that channel out. Now, I have another channel that I just started. I want you guys to go check this one out as well. On any of these platforms, it's called In and Out to Legacy Business. I understand that every side of me can't be put on one platform, one channel. So the business side of me is going to be on that channel, in and out to legacy business. It's on all the little things. What really is teaching you, I'm going to show you how to take and build business stacked on top of each other. Y'all know that I own this cigar lounge right now, but some people don't know I used to own a popcorn shop. I made $12,000 one year during the Black Panther movie just selling the little Black Panther bracelets. And I used that money to help me facilitate opening another popcorn shop. You see what I'm saying? So I'm teach people how to do things of that nature. So go like those 2 channels. And whether you hate me or not, it doesn't really matter. Because those 2 channels, one just, really did you know? General random things like where did the term goody little 2 shoes come from? That's a very funny little story. Things of that nature. It's just fun. The business one, I want everybody to be able to make some money, man. One of our biggest problems that we sit here struggling for finances. And we gotta change that. That's right. Thank you, Donald. In and out to legacy business. It's two legacy business. And the other one is really did you know? So now that the formalities are out of the way, how you doing, Debbie? What up, Derek? How you doing, Donald? Chuck, everybody, welcome to the channel. We are going to get started, and we are now in. We're still in Exodus. Last week, Moses came down the hill, killed everybody, killed 3,000 people for the golden calf and whatnot. So this week, then so he mad. He threw the tablets down. Pow! He broke the tablets. He gonna get some new tablets. And a lot of people don't realize this, that there are actually, that you have the original 10 commandments, but those aren't the original 10 commandments. Those aren't the ones that supposedly were placed in the Ark of the Covenant. That the commandments you're about to get right now, that these 2 tablets are the ones that supposedly are placed in the Ark of the Covenant. But we're gonna read it line for line and break it down. The parts that deserve to be broken down. We don't break down every little nuance of every word, but some things are just stuff that they're saying, rules that they have. And then we're going to have some repetitive shit in chapter 35. So are we ready? It's ready. Let's get it. Let's go. All right. So, and the Lord said to Moses, cut 2 tablets of stone like the first ones, and I will write on these tablets the words that were on the first tablets, which you broke. Now, I want y'all to remember that, because this is one of those reasons why it's like, okay, they got contradictions in here. Because he just said, I will write down the words that were on the first tablets, which you broke. That he going to write them, and it's going to be the words of the first tablet that he broke. Keep that in mind for when we get to what he actually writes on the tablets and who actually does the writing. So be ready in the morning and come up in the morning to my Mount Sinai and present yourself to me. Present yourself to me there on the top of the mountain, and no man shall come up with you, and let no man be seen throughout all the mountain. Let neither flocks nor herds feed before that mountain. So he want Moses to come up by himself. Remember last time he had a bunch of people come to the edge of the mountain, then he had some elders come up a little bit, then he had a few little leadership guys a little bit, Joshua, and then he went to the top. But this time, just Moses. So he cut 2 tablets of stone like the first one. Then Moses rose early in the morning and went up Mount Sinai as the Lord had commanded him. And he took in his hand the 2 tablets of stone. Now, y'all know these supposed to be some big tablets. There ain't no way this old man is climbing up this mountain with 2 tablets in his hand. I'm just saying, it's just not happening. We just not going to accept that. All right. Now the Lord descended in a cloud and stood with him there and proclaimed the name of the Lord. Now, all these times, this is why the people do the ancient alien thing. This is because how does the Lord descend with clouds? That looks like a spaceship landing, right? we've seen it, like if when you have a like the lunar module when it lands, blowing the clouds with the flame coming out the back. In any kind of drawing, if we were to suggest how a spaceship would land, it would land in a similar format. And remember, in previous chapter, it landed and it scorched the mountain. So, is this an advanced civilization that is using, fossil fuel, or is this some alien civilization that's coming down that they think is God? Because mind you, all of this is happening after the Younger Dryas period. So I'll let y'all stew on that one a bit. And the Lord passed before him and proclaimed. Now, this is some egotistical bullshit that's about to come up. The ego of this God, as he is passing before him. Remind you, nobody has ever seen God according to this story, according to this book, but here is the Lord is passed before him. Last time they were very specific to say that he had to turn his back. There's no back turning this time. He's just saying the Lord passed before him. You can take it as it is. And proclaiming, the Lord God, merciful and graceful, long-suffering and abounding in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquities and transgressions and sins, by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children and the children's children, to be the third and fourth generation. Now, Khalif, there are some contradictions already in this aspect of it as well. This is not Moses saying this. Remember, it said, and the Lord passed before him and proclaimed. This God is proclaiming this of himself. Good morning, Angelique. This God is proclaiming this of himself. He says that the Lord God, merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abound in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquities and transgressions and sins. But hold on, by no means clearing the guilty. So you merciful, but you went and killed the firstborn children of Egypt that didn't have nothing to do with anything that was going on between you and your kids, between you and your so-called chosen ones. You turned water of all Egypt into blood. So I want you, and as we talked about that back then when we was going through that chapter, conceptualize once again. Let's say all of this was happening in modern day Cairo, and you live, which is a plane ride away in Karnak, Egypt. You don't know anything about Moses and all this stuff that's going on, but yet all your water turns to blood. You don't know about Moses, but all your animals dying, the frogs are coming out, the boils are happening. All these things are happening. You have no idea. You haven't persecuted anybody. You haven't done anything. You're just minding your own business. But yet this so-called merciful, graceful God decided to punish people who had nothing to do with the situation. And he also is punishing people because he hardened Pharaoh's heart to make sure that he say no, so that he can punish people. So he's making sure that he can punish people. But I'm supposed to think that this dude is abounding in goodness? Hell to the no. But he clears it up. He shows his evil. By no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children and the children's children to the third and fourth generation. Where's the justice in that? Literally, like, where is the justice in any of that? Ooh, that was too bright. There is no justice in that. So, my dad, my father, let's have a little transparency here. My dad, somewhat of a troublemaker at times of his life, to the point where a judge told him, hey, you need to leave Georgia, right? Can't come back for however long, pretty much till that judge died. Can't come back to Georgia. My dad left. Thankfully, the company he worked for transferred him out to Texas, right? My mom didn't go. That would be like that judge saying, hey, you got to go. Your son can't come back. And I have a son, Lincoln, right now, and Lincoln can't come to Georgia. And Lincoln's son can't come to Georgia. How much sense does it make that if my father did something and is kicked out of the state of Georgia and told that he will be put in jail if he comes back to Georgia, that if I remain in Georgia, I got to go to jail, that if my son comes to Georgia, my son has to go to jail, and if my grandson were to come to Georgia, he got to go to jail? How is that fair? How is that of a good God, a good, merciful God? You know what I'm saying? How would that be? If you think that's justice, then keep worshiping that God. But this is one of the reasons why we don't, why I don't, and many who are who are on this channel, we don't, because we know that is not the qualities of a good deity, of a good so-called good God. Let me get this microphone a little closer. It's not. But these people will continue. What chapter? This is Exodus 34. We're doing 34 and 35 today. And that was verses 6 through 6 and 7. Specifically 7, but about the generations. So to continue. So Moses made haste and bowed his head towards the earth and worshiped. Then he said, if now I have found grace in your sight, O Lord, let my Lord, I pray, go among us, even though we are stiff-necked people, and pardon our iniquities and our sins, and take us as your inheritance. So basically, Moses just spoke up for everybody else and saying that make us your slaves. You know, we know I know them some raggedy jokers, but just take us anyway. Just take us anyway. It's like if you the person in your family that's okay, but you got a whole bunch of criminal ghetto jokers, and you trying to marry into some family like I know, but just bring them on. Just let them come on in. But he did kind of throw him under the bus, but that's not a big deal. But he just threw him under the bus and all that sort of thing. But he already said that they're supposed to be his people. This is a repetitive thing. This book is very repetitive of the same things of in and out, over and over again. So to continue, because I ain't talked to y'all in a while, because I went on vacation over the weekend, took a long vacation. So we gotta get to our regular conversation as well. And he said, behold, I make a covenant before all your people I will do. This is a thought. I know this is a little straight thought here. But he said, but if you look at this guy, he made a covenant with Abraham, where he made a covenant with Adam. He made a covenant with Cain. He made a covenant with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. And he's making a covenant here with Moses. And, this is the second covenant that he's made with Moses, actually, at least the second, if not more. But this guy makes covenants. And then, of course, Jesus was a whole new covenant. There is so much chaos concerning this deity in the world today that if he actually existed, why wouldn't he come and make another covenant right now? Wouldn't that make sense? That with so many people on the planet who are walking away from all religions, and especially this one, wouldn't it make some sense that you come and make a new covenant instead of trying to entrust this old jacked up shit, this tainted, tampered with writing? I mean, you all about making covenants, so come make a new one. Good morning, Dee Dee. Good morning, Lydia. I'm just saying, Grand Rising. Why don't you come make a new covenant? Doesn't make sense to me. But little thought that just went over there for a second. So as he said, yes, exactly. Why not make a new one? Why are we not special? Right, we special too. But nope, gonna trust that we're supposed to believe some 2,000 year old, and it's some amazing shit that's about to happen that is a lie. And we need clarity on this. It's about to happen. It's coming up. Give me a second. So behold, I make a new covenant before all your people I will do marvels such as have not been done in all the earth. Now we just saw some stuff with in Egypt that he did that, and he supposedly flooded the entire planet. Y'all already know. So you gonna do something bigger than that? That's gonna be amazing. It's gonna do something all bigger than that. Grand Rise True Seeker. But he said ain't gonna be hadn't been done in all the earth, nor in any nation or all, and all the people among whom you are shall see the work of the Lord, for it is an awesome thing that I will do with you. Does it sound like something that preachers always say? Observe what I commanded. Observe what I commanded you this day. Behold, I am driving out from before you. I am driving out from before you the Amorites and the Hittites and the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites. Take heed to yourself, lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land where you are going, lest it be a snare in the midst. So he's gonna kick these people off their land who already been there. But he said, don't make a deal with them, don't make peace with them. Basically, it's gonna be total war. If you don't know what total war is, that is when you kill everybody. But of course, we know they like to keep the young virgin girls, but where you kill everybody else. So he says, but you shall destroy their altars, break their sacred pillars, and cut down their wooden images. For you shall worship no other God, for the Lord whose name is jealous, and for the Lord whose name is jealous is a jealous God. Now, we do want to throw something in there where it just said they're wooden altars. Depending upon what version you're reading, it says they're Asherah poles. But they have been systematically trying to take the word Asherah out of this book because, and we know that initially Hezekiah, when he re-edited this book after the Babylonian captivity, that's when he profoundly stated that we would no longer worship Baal, Yahweh and his Asherah, that we would only worship Yahweh. And that's when they cut out the worshiping of Asherah as Yahweh's wife. Okay. So this other versions right there in 13, where it says, and cut down their wooden images, it would say, and cut down their Asherah poles. So you see how they're changing this word to make you think wooden images. That could be anything, right? That could be any kind of totem. But they're changing the wording of it to, prevent people from researching deeper to say, well, what the hell is an Asherah pole? And then to find out that Yahweh's consort, his wife, was Asherah, and that it comes from the Babylonian and all the way up through the Sumerians. But notice also how the only thing he's concerned about is destroying their religion. Now, I want y'all to think about that, especially all my Black people, because today was interesting this morning, and I was getting myself prepared to come here today. Sound like a preacher. I was preparing to come here today to worship and minister to the people. Bill Cosby is teaching, but I want to talk to you about the fact that this is exactly what they have, that Christianity has done ever since, and I kept saying 482, but it's actually 382, 380, 381, when Theodosius, and I don't know why I kept saying 4. More, I don't know why you got to click you ain't clicked something right over there on Jeremy, because I don't know what I don't know. You got to get the bell. Well, not a bell icon. I don't know how Facebook does that. You should get notification. Check your Facebook settings. Maybe that's where it's at for my page. But Christianity, and I'm not just going to put this. I mean, even though it was predominantly done by Europeans, but it started before the modern day European. It started at the time frame of Theodosius, where this mentality was to come and shut down people's religion. Prior to Theodosius, prior to 380s, in Rome, you can be a Roman and maintain your religion. You could be a slave and maintain your religion. They didn't take that away from you. But it is because of teachings like this in this book that they justify going into another person's home and taking their religion. Because this is what they were saying right here, is that we're going to go in. He said, go in and destroy their altars, break their sacred pillars, cut down their wooden images. And, because he's a jealous God. This God has emotions. And if you are studying the Kabbalion with us, which is what we do on Thursday, on Thursday, remember when we was talking about what the all in all is, we know that the all cannot have emotions, because if the all has emotions, then it is the emotions that is driving the all, and therefore the emotion is actually God, not the being in itself, not the consciousness. Nothing can provoke or promote or move what the all can be. So you cannot be jealous. That doesn't work. But this mentality of destroying other people's religion comes from this book. When people say this is a book of love and peace and all that, and I'm afraid, a young lady on my Facebook, I appreciate what she said, because she said that a true Christian should pray for me instead of all the casting me, judging me to go to hell. She's right. I don't want them to pray for me though, but she's right. That's what a good person should do. But this book tells you otherwise, that you destroy people's religion, that you cut down and chop them up. But let me continue, because I can stay on that subject for a minute. All right, so at least you make a covenant with the inhabitants. So don't even make peace with them. So at least you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they play the harlot with their gods and make sacrifices to their gods. And one of them invites you, and you eat of his sacrifice. Now, many people will explain the reason why you couldn't make a covenant with him, because when you make, I don't know if you guys ever seen or sat in a peace, like when you're making a peace treaty, or you're doing a corporate merger, or you're doing a deal. These things are usually done over a meal. Doing a deal over a meal. That'd be rhyming. Don't even know it, but I would. But anyway, they're doing a deal over a meal. So they don't want him. So some people can justify this and say that, well, you don't. The reason why you didn't want them to make a covenant, because they have to sit down at a meal together. And if they sit down at a meal together, then they have to eat the other person's food, or the other persons would feel disrespected, and that would mess up the peace accord. All right. This is why in higher levels is the meal is vital to making a deal. Like if you're in sales, you need to know your client and go make sure you get them down to the right meal. So you can kind of address it that way, but that's not all to it. It is, because how easy is it for you to just come in and say, well, we are these type people. This is our dietary requirements. So although you sacrifice this, we're going to sacrifice that, and we can sit down and we can have a conversation and we can have a deal. But that's not the problem. That's not the problem. Verse 16 is going to tell you the problem. It ain't about ingesting their sacrifice, which, you got to go and kill something else. The problem is verse 16. So, and you eat of his sacrifice. And 16, as you take of his daughters for your sons, and his daughters play the harlot with their gods, and make your sons play the harlot with their gods. That's the real problem, because he already told you that he's jealous, right? So I already know that this can't be a deity, because we already know he's jealous. But then he's basically telling these guys, in the words of one of my customers who come in here at the Cigar Lounge, James, the poom poom is undefeated. And he's saying that these men are so weak that if they were to come and make a treaty, that the poom poom gonna be so good from these Amorites and Canaanites and these Hittites and Perizzites and Hivites. You know about them Jebusites. But he's just saying that they gonna be so good. These men gonna be so infatuated, because the Israelite women they must not look that good, but they're gonna be so caught up with these women that they're gonna shut down their religion. Now, I will give credit to this. This is a somewhat true kind of mentality that humans demonstrate. And it could go both ways. I'm not saying it's one over the other, but oftentimes when you have people uh, with different beliefs, thanks, Jeremy, and they come together, one person seems to start leaning to the other person, not because they're learning something new, but because they are trying, their emotional connection with that other person is so great that they want to walk in lockstep with each other. Right. This is why, like my lady, I told I told her when we first started talking, don't don't go on my YouTube, don't go on my Facebook, don't go on my TikTok. I don't want you listening to none of my stuff. Even though I made sure that she wasn't a religious person, didn't follow all that kind of stuff, but I didn't want to have any kind of influence over her thought process while we were getting to know each other, because I want you to stay where you at. If you want to, and if you're inquisitive, you start learning stuff, do it because you want to learn. But this dude, I'm sorry, but we know that people will just do that. They'll just do it. I've seen that in my own life where people who were straight up Christian tried to come over to my side of the table simply because they was with me, and then as soon as we break up, they right back over there in Christianity. It's like people do that. So I get it a little bit. But you saying that your men all gonna fall for the daughters. This God is afraid of the poom poom of the Amorites and the Canaanites. And I told y'all about the Jebusites. Ain't nothing like a Jebusite. Jebusite right up there with Jezebel. Freaky. They can't handle it. The Hebrew dudes can't handle them, that poom poom. So that's the real reason why he's saying that he don't be. And the thing about it is he don't want to lose them and their worship. Right? Got it in your like two flip floppers? Yeah, I'm sure we've all seen it, both on men and women's side. But he don't want to lose them as him being the deity. That's the whole reason. He just want to keep, he's like a little kid, and these are his toys. These are mine. These are mine. That's what he is. These my toys. These my toys. That's what this God is. He's a kid. He's a jealous little child who's hell-bent and loves to. He's the little kid that go outside and be burning ants up and shit like that. Crazy little Joe. What was that on Toy Story? What was the little kid next door? He's that kid next door on Toy Story. That's who he is. So to continue, you shall make no molten gods for yourselves, because you can't do that. Now these are the new laws. These are the new 10 commandments. You shall make no molten gods for yourself. Now he said that one in the first one. No gold, no graven images. All right. So I'm guessing he about to tell him another one of those. Maybe the thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill. Some of those, honor thy mother and father. I'm thinking he about to go into those. But 18, he says, the feast of unleavened bread ye shall keep. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread as I commanded you in the appointed time of the month of Abib. For in the month of Abib you came out from Egypt. That wasn't in the original. Now he said earlier, you're going to rewrite. We're going to write it back down. We're going to copy paste what we did before. You lied. The first time you said nothing about unleavened bread. Not one word about it. So now eating yeast is just as important as thou shalt not kill. And we know thou shalt not have slaves is never going to make it in this book. We know that ain't going to make it. Thou shalt treat women equally. We know it don't work. It doesn't match up in this book. So let's see if maybe he going to get there. But 19, all that opened the womb are mine. And every male firstborn among your livestock, whether ox or sheep. But the firstborn of a donkey you shall redeem with a lamb. And if you shall not redeem him, then ye shall break his neck. All the firstborn of your sons you shall redeem. And none shall appear before me empty-handed. Now, there's some actually, all right, this is a part of much debate. You'll also find a similar statement in Exodus, I think it's 21 or 22, where it talks about all your firstborn belongs to the Lord. You know, that said, all that open the womb are mine. He's saying all your firstborn males are his. The general consensus of scholarship is saying that this is child sacrifice. This is baby child sacrifice. This isn't all your firstborn become priest. That's what I used to think when I first read this. Anytime I read that your firstborn, because I was convinced, okay, I know this guy's jacked up. It can't be that jacked up. But no, I went and I looked at some scholarly work and some paper, write-ups and things of that nature. And they actually, I knew that ancient Israelite people practice human sacrifice. I didn't know they practice human baby sacrifice. You know, so, but this, and as well as, I think it's 21 or 22, it says the same thing. Yeah. They killing the babies, y'all. The firstborn. And they're killing the firstborn of the livestock of the sheep and all. And now if it's a donkey, now when you don't want the donkey, you're gonna go get you another lamb. And you're gonna, but if you don't have a lamb, you're gonna break the neck of that donkey. So I'm just wondering, if your firstborn is a daughter, or if you don't redeem your firstborn, do you break the neck of your daughter? It didn't specifically say it. But since it's breaking necks previous to that, what would stop them from just saying that we're supposed to do that to our daughters as well? What was the reason for doing that? The reason is because it's to show your love and devotion to this God, that your first fruits belong to that God and not you. It's a sign of submission. Now, Didi was asking, Didi Alchemy was asking what was the reason for it. You know, so it was that your enslavement to this religion. And he said, and none shall show up empty-handed. So if you had a bunch of daughters and then all of a sudden you have a son, but you don't want to redeem that one son, snap a daughter's neck. It doesn't say that exactly, but it can be inferred if you got to snap the neck of the donkey. And you know, donkeys and daughters are about equal in this book. Donkeys and daughters are about equal. They're just property. To continue, 21. 6 days you shall work, but on the 7th day you shall rest, and in plowing times and in harvest you shall rest. So he's keeping the Sabbath. So that's only two that he's keeping, and he's not adding some other stuff, but he's only keeping the 2. And as actually, those are the only 2 of the original first 10 commandments that this dude is going to actually write down the second time. So the people never got the first. And then think about it. Moses came down with the 10. He saw the people. He threw the 10 down. The people never saw the actual 10 commandments, the first 10. This is all they're getting. This is the first 10 to them. And all that other stuff is not worth talking about. You know, honoring your mother and father, and stealing and killing and coveting and all that sort of thing. And we know slavery is not. All right. So 6 days shall work and 7 days shall rest. Okay, got that. And you shall observe the feast of weeks, of the first fruits of wheat harvest, and the feast of ingathering at the year's end. So got in 3 times in a year, all your men shall appear before the Lord God of Israel. For I will cast out the nations before you and enlarge your borders. Neither will any man covet your land when you go up to appear before the Lord and your God 3 times in the year. So you got to make sure you observe the Feast of Weeks, but 3 times a year, you got to go up to the Lord. Now he going to make sure that ain't nobody trying to conquer you during that time frame. Well, we know that this guy didn't maintain that, because the state of Israel didn't last about 2 seconds. Even with the Babylonian, during this time frame, this so-called time frame, this time frame never happened. But even during the real history, this kingdom of Israel has hardly ever maintained its own sovereignty. It's always been a vassal state of Egypt, or it's a vassal state of the Babylonians or the Arcadians. It's always been a vassal state of somebody, you know. It wasn't until what 1948 that it became a state, but it's still kind of a vassal state of America. You know. But these promises never happen, right? And then he's gonna keep people from attacking you, but I guess you can be attacked the rest of the year. Right. So cast out all nations 3 times. Yeah. And you shall not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leaven, nor shall the sacrifice of the feast of the Passover be left until morning. The first fruits of the first fruits of your land you shall bring to the house of the Lord your God. You shall not boil a young goat in its mother's milk. I guess boiling young goats in mother's milk was a very popular thing during their day, because that shit just comes out of nowhere. You would think that there would be some stuff in the beginning that was saying like, hey, you know, it's so sinful. We've been boiling goats, and in Genesis, I killed this person because they was boiling goats. Maybe that's what's the dude he got. This guy just said he was so evil that he just killed him. And then his brother was supposed to get with his wife, and he got with her, but he kept jizzing on the floor. Maybe that's why he killed. Maybe he was boiling baby goats in their mother's milk. I don't know. Yeah, it's some weird stuff. But you got him. He's making sure all these celebrations to him are now the primary things on this. Is everything for the most part on this new 10 is all geared towards worshiping him. Nothing about a code of life of how that. At least you can give some credit to the first one that has some levels of a code of life. What's up, Carlton? Oh, Glitzen, Germany. Ooh, boy. Came home to Stuttgart. What you are doing, and I know that on your journey. Once ever left. I can't, when on Facebook, try not to write too long because it sometimes doesn't show me all of it. And if I touch it, it messes all up. Right. So, you know, do a little small, but I appreciate everything you said, Carlton. So continue. So he wants all the first fruits. Everything is about this dude. This is the ego of this God. People always talk about they don't worship this God out of fear. Yeah, it's a whole bunch of fear in this thing. Then the Lord said to Moses, write these words, for according to the tenor of these words, I have made a covenant with you and with Israel. So he was there with the Lord for 40 days and 40 nights. He neither ate bread nor drank water. And he wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant and the 10 commandments. Now, in the beginning of this guy said that he was going to write these 10 commandments, and he was going to write the same commandments that he had before. Well, we see that Moses actually did the writing, because in the first one, this guy said he was going to write it, and he wrote the first 10. But we see that Moses actually wrote it, and it is not the original 10. It's only 2 of the original, and everything else is a whole bunch of feasting, firstborn, killing first babies. That's all dedicated to him. This is a contradiction in this book of this God lying about what he's going to do. Now, if you want to see some of these 10 commandments and where they got them from, the Code of Hammurabi would be a good start. So he was delusional. And you know what? Didi Alchemy just said that Moses must have been basically saying Moses must have been delusional. And this is why he went off writing all this stuff and killing the firstborn, because the man ain't ate for 40 days and 40 nights. Now we know. Now, look, everybody knows this. I'm not saying what I'm about to say because it makes me special or nothing like that. But, you know, I spent a decade plus as a personal trainer and master nutritionist. Can't tell right now, but I did. I know Didi is a fitness person. I don't know to what. I think she did the nutrition track and all that sort of thing as well. We know you can't live 40 days and 40 nights with no food and no water. and you're on top of a mountain, so lower oxygen, level, and you're supposed to be writing on a tablet. And mind you, you climbed up the mountain with 2 tablets, no walking stick, and what? I think Moses, how old is Moses by? He's about 60, 70, 80 years old at this point. Come on, man. Anybody who listens to this thing and you believe in this guy, come on. And don't give me that bullshit. God sustained him. It says nothing in here that this guy sustained anything. It said the man didn't eat for 40 days, 40 nights. And you're going to say God sustained him because when he comes down, he's has a shining face. It's we making shit up, and we making the story bigger. We got to, legendize this dude. Right? No one can live that long without food and water. Exactly that. Right? Truth seeker, yes. You was a fitness coach, so you know that too. You can't do that. It don't work. Unless it's aliens. Nah, just kidding. But that doesn't work. You can't do it. But this is just legendizing the story. And people like to say, oh, this was a precursor to showing Jesus when he did the 40 days and 40 nights, up on the mountain, and he was tempted by the devil and all this kind of stuff. No, that Jesus story is them copying this Moses story, right? It ain't the precursor to Jesus giving you a light into Jesus. It was the Jesus writers copying the Moses writers in order to validate their story and create the connection. Exactly. It's the greatest story ever told. And I be telling some good stories. Actually, I got a story. Y'all gonna see it in Pixar one of these days. I got a couple of them. It's gonna be Pixar'd up. Let me just say, when y'all see a story about a mosquito in Pixar or a traveling mouse, well, it's a little different, little traveling action adventure rat, just know it came from your boy. But the mosquito one gonna be good. Anyway, let me go. Let me keep thinking, because I will get sidetracked. Damn, this chapter's a little long, but we almost at the last part of it. Now it was so, when Moses came down from Mount Sinai, and the 2 tablets of the tent and the testimony were in Moses' hands when he came down from the mountain, that Moses did not know that the skin of his face shone while he talked with him. So he had that good Vaseline. Y'all know, my brothers and sisters in here, y'all know about that Vaseline. That cocoa butter. Anyway, y'all need to stop taking pot shots like that. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. I'm just saying. Thank you, Ronald. So he came down, his face is shining. Then he didn't realize the one he was talking to. So Aaron and all the children of Israel saw Moses. Behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come near him. There's a lot of fear in this. I mean, the man just came down from the mountain. You saw him come down before. It's not like it's something that hasn't happened before. Now he's radiant. So just walk up to him. It's no big deal. But it's little things like that, like psychologically, it's little things like that that actually causes people to become comfortable with fear. It's kind of like when you're watching a movie, right? And you don't know why you want certain products, is because they had product placement all throughout the movie and they kept doing it over and over again. And all of a sudden you are watching it and you want to go get a Coke, or you want to buy a new car, and all of a sudden, because you wasn't watching this particular Marvel movies, you want an Audi, in the early Marvel years. Now I think they with Mercedes or somebody. But it's because of all these product placement. This is product placement by having all this fear involved in it. You think, because logically, if this God has done all these things in Egypt, y'all come across, he turned some manna from heaven, which is insect poop. You got some spoiled water, throw a stick in it, good water, hit a rock, water, river coming out. He's done all these things that you've been going around. He went up to the mountain, he came back, descended on the cloud a couple of times with and the lightning and the burnt and scorching the mountain. You've seen this God do a bunch of stuff. you wouldn't be scared just because Moses came down with some Vaseline on his face. You wouldn't be. But they keep the repetitiveness of saying that the people were afraid, the people were afraid, the people were afraid, the people were afraid, helps to instill the fear in the people. It's just a written version of product placement. And I like what Dee said, it gives the image of slave and master. I like that. Jeremy said he had a good skin regimen. There's that Vaseline. That's why your grandmama had that big ass jar of Vaseline. Or she take that Crisco oil and mix in some lemon juice and some other stuff. Or maybe that was just my grandma. All right, where was I? So when Aaron and all his children of Israel saw Moses' skin, they was afraid. All right. Then Moses called to them, and Aaron and all the rulers and rulers of the congregation returned to him, and Moses talked with them. Afterwards, all the children of Israel came near, and he gave them the commandments, all that the Lord has spoke with him on Mount Sinai. Remember, this is like 2 million people. So they all came up, and he's telling all the people. Hell of a voice. And when Moses had finished speaking with them, he put the veil on his face. But whenever Moses went in before the Lord to speak with him, he would take the veil off until he came out, and he would come out and speak to the children of Israel whatever he had been commanded. And whenever the children of Israel saw the face of Moses, that the skin of Moses' face shone. Then Moses would put the veil on his face again until he went to speak with him. So Moses was keeping this radiance. Basically, what they're trying to say is that Moses would keep this radiant skin. He would come speak to the people. Hey, God told me this. And then he go back in. Hey, God. And he put the veil on and come back out. And God told me this again. So this became church for them. 35. How long is 35? 35 is just as long. But there's not as much to break down in 35, so it ain't going to take as long. All right. He had that glow like Bruce Leroy. He showed I'm sorry. I just played it in my head. Leroy! What you gonna do? You got me choking. Actually, we do movie nights here at the lounge on Friday night. Usually outside, and actually that's one of the movies that we're going to show is Bruce Leroy. Who's the greatest low down mofo? Show enough. Got me damn choking, boy. All right. Gain your composure. Gain your composure. All right. Then Moses gathered, this is chapter 35. Then Moses gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together. And he said to them, these are the words which the Lord has commanded to you. Work shall be done for 6 days, but the 7th day shall be a holy day for you, a Sabbath of rest to the Lord. Whoever does any work on it shall be put to death. You shall kindle no fire throughout your dwellings on the Sabbath. Well, damn. Well, damn. So when a person who tells me that they're a Hebrew Israelite or they're a 7-day Adventist, or who else is supposed to keep this law? I think Jehovah's Witnesses are supposed to keep this law, or you're just plain old Judaism, and that they say they're supposed to keep this law. Are they putting people to death today who work on the Sabbath? Because it tells them whoever does any work on it shall be put to death. Right? Doesn't say as time goes on and your moral laws change and you're unable to put people to death for rules of that nature, then you don't have to do it no more. And it doesn't say, there's nowhere in the Bible does it say that. It doesn't say it. Not in any place or placement, not one syllable of this book says that as culture change, you ain't got to do this part. So there should be a lot of Seventh-day Adventists, Jehovah's Witness, I think, Jews, people practice Judaism, Hebrew Israelite. There should be a lot of them in jail right now because they should have been putting a lot of people to death. And then it says, you shall kindle no fire throughout the dwellings on the Sabbath, right? Now, two things about them. They pick and choose what they want. Exactly. They pick and choose what they want to follow. Just like here. Yeah, of course. Two things about this. No killing the fire. Used to have these little arguments with this young lady who was at SDA. The first thing is no kindling of fire. Do you know how many people would have froze to death in Israel, in the Levant, if they actually did this? I know people think about, oh, Egypt, Sinai Peninsula, probably not that big a deal. It's hot desert. First of all, if you ain't never been to the desert at night, right off water, that ain't hot. It's very extreme. You'd be 90 to 100 in the day. That joint would jump down about 40 degrees at night. But in the Levant, it's totally different. You got mountains, right? It's elevated. The first time I was in Israel, it was February. And at night, it was cold as hell. Not cold as hell. It was cold as hell. It was cold as hell. I'm telling y'all, it was cold as hell. I mean, my dumb ass, I had a cross color. You remember the cross color jackets? The little thin ass cross color jackets go all the way down to your knee, little tie string. I was sharp, my little cross color jacket on. And I went out on a tour and it was hot during that. It was about, I ain't gonna say it was hot, but it was a good 70, 68 degrees. Tour just going. Get off the tour bus. The tour bus get back around 6 o'clock. It's a little cool. It's cooling off. My boys are going down to Tel Aviv, gonna go to this club. I'm like, all right, let's go to Tel Aviv. We'll go to the club. I didn't go back to the ship and get my leather jacket or nothing like that. Them fools had on leather jackets. They've been there before. I should have listened to them. By the time we got to Tel Aviv, I'm shaking them cold as hell. And then when we come out the club about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, because we was lower ranked, so we had to be back early, I was freezing my ass off. It was like damn near ready to snow. It was that cold. I say that because you telling these people not to light a fire. Now, these people are living in tents and stuff. And you telling them not to light a fire on the Sabbath? There should have been some death, especially when you consider, I know they could huddle together, some body heat and all that kind of stuff. But come on now. Still. Yeah, it says the people were stubborn. This is true. But that's an unreasonable thing to give people, that you can't light a fire in your house. It's cold. Now, another question is, like, in today's world, when I was having this disagreement with a person who was SDA, one of my common arguments was that, okay, if you're not supposed to light a fire, what would that be the equivalency of in today's world? Most people, since the advent of electricity, they decided, like, if you go to some of the Mennonites, because I think the Mennonites do electricity. It's the Amish who don't. Well, then you actually got certain sects of Amish who do it now. But they said electricity, don't turn the lights on, because they focus on the fact that the fire gives them light. No. The main element of the fire that is vital is the heat. So my argument was, if you are practicing these religions that are supposed to be Sabbath keeping, you should not be turning on your heat on the Sabbath. You shouldn't be using and that would in most cases, that's going to include your electricity as well. But you can't light a fire in your fire pit. You can't turn on the gas, which provides heat. So you shouldn't be turning on heat if you have an electric heating, AC and heating unit. That's what you shouldn't turn on. How many of these people are going to sit there in the wintertime? I know in Georgia is not as bad, but it's bad. It's bad. I've been in Georgia and power goes out and your ass is sitting up there freezing. You know, because Georgia, you know, we ain't ready for ice and snow. So when it does happen, you know, it happened. Or somebody ran it. One time this guy runs into one of those the pole. It's cold as hell. They're not keeping this day. Just saying. But how unreasonable and without forethought is that of this God, that you would tell the people that on a day you're not supposed to light a fire? Do you know that the fire was one of the main sources of keeping wild animals out? They do have mountain lions in the Levant. Why would you tell them not to light a fire, which helps protect them from the mountain lions? That's stupid. This is not a well thought out plan for this deity that supposedly knows all. This deity also would have known that man was going to expand throughout the whole planet. Well, let me reverse that a little bit. Man was already all around the planet. This deity should have known that man already being all around the planet is going to continue to expand around the planet, and that there will be people who live in Alaska, who live in Canada, in Russia, you know, people in Argentina, South Africa. They would know that they're going to be people that live in frigid areas. And if they were to adopt this religion, you're giving them this, no fire, no heat on this one day. That's not, didn't he say that he was a loving, caring, good God earlier? No, that in itself is the demonstration that you're not well thought out. Your plan is broken. I could have thought of something better than that. I would have thought of something better than that. I'm serious. I would be a better God than this guy could ever be. And I know I'm jacked up. I know I got issues. All right. Let me continue. And Moses spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, there is the thing which the Lord commanded, saying, take from among you an offering to the Lord. Whoever is of a willing heart, let him bring it as an offering to the Lord. Gold, silver, bronze, blue, purple, and scarlet thread, fine linen, and goat's hair, ram skin dyed red, bagger skin, and acacia wood, oil for the light, and spices for the anointment oil, and for the sweet incense, onyx stone, and the stones to be set in the ephods of the breastplates. So if you remember the previous chapter when I bored the shit out of y'all with having to go through all the God wants this and God wants that and got this, and the priesthood got to get that good stuff. Remember the breastplate is, then the priesthood got all kind of jewels and stuff in they all up in their breastplate. This is now him saying, bring it, you know, bring the stuff, we're gonna get it. So he got to repeat it because the writers of this book, they repeat stuff over and over again. But this is that, hey, pastors need to be rich situation, because how can they verify this? They don't know. It's just Moses going in and out. But now he needs the people. All who are gifted artisans among you shall come and make all that the Lord has commanded. The tabernacle is tents, its covering, its clasps, its boards, its bars, its pillars, its sockets, the ark and its poles, with the mercy seat, and the veil of the covering, and the table and its bowls, and all its utensils and its snow beads. And you remember this, there's a lot of gold that's required for all of this stuff. All right. A fire can be started before the Sabbath hour. They can keep it during the Sabbath day as long as it doesn't go out. How do you keep it without adding to it? Therefore, adding to it, that requires work. You got to go pick up the wood. You got to walk it over there. You got to add it to the fire. You got to tend it. That's still considered work. I understand what you're saying, that if you start a fire beforehand and let it burn, as long as it doesn't. But if you're keeping the fire, you're working. But in today's world, so if you pre-program the heater, that would be the escape that they could use today Well, I said it for you. I said it yesterday. So I ain't touch it today. So where was I? Pole, okay. Where was it? Oil and light the incense for the altar, the poles, the anointing on the sweet incense screen, the screen for the door, the entrance to the tabernacle, the altar, the burnt offerings, and with it the bronze gates, and its poles and its utensils, and the laver and the base and its base, the hangings of the court, its pillars and their sockets, and the screens for the gate of the court, the pegs of the tabernacle, the pegs of the court, and their cords, the garments of ministry for ministering in the holy place, the holy garments for Aaron and the priest, and the garments for his sons and the ministers and the priests. This is why they have no problem. Churches have no problem gutting you for all your stuff, because this is give me all the stuff the priesthood needed in order to properly worship this God. There is no come as you are, not as far as the dress code. Come as you are, maybe spiritually, but not as a dress code. And all the congregation of the children of Israel departed from the presence of Moses. Then everyone came whose heart was stirred, and everyone whose spirit was willing. So he gave a good speech. And they brought the Lord's offering for the work of the tabernacle of the meeting, for all its service, and for its holy garments. They came, both men and women, as many as had a willing heart. Now, he said they all left, but only those who were struck, only those who had a willing heart. Doesn't that not go against when they try to force that 10%? Now, I know people can say that, well, this was a special offer, but still, it is the emphasis of a willing heart. Not everyone brought stuff. It was those who had a willing heart. And brought earrings and nose rings and rings and necklaces, all jewelry of gold. That is, every man who made an offering of gold to the Lord, and every man with whom was found blue, purple, and scarlet threads, fine linen, and the goats' hair, red skin of rams, and bagger skins brought them. Everyone who offered an offering of silver and bronze brought the Lord offerings, and everyone to whom found acacia wood for any work of the service brought it. All the women who were gifted artisans spun yarn with their hands, and brought what they had spun of blue, purple, and scarlet, and fine linen. And all the women whose hearts stirred with wisdom spun yarn of goat's hair. This is one of the few times that they actually like, hey, women, they doing some stuff that's good, instead of dogging women out like they do most of the time. The rulers brought onyx stones and stones to be set in the ephods and in the breastplates, the spices and the oil for the light, for the anointing oil, and for the sweet incense. The children of Israel brought a free will offering to the Lord, all of the men and women whose hearts were willing to bring materials of all kinds of work, which the Lord by the hand of Moses had commanded them to be done. So everybody, could just said everybody brought everything. Those who had a willing heart and had the objects that were requested, brought it. Simple. But we had to go through all of that. You ain't done yet. Got a little bit more. And Moses said to the children of Israel, see, the Lord has called my name Bezalel, the son of Uriah. I'm probably saying that name wrong. Bezalel, the son of Uriah, the son of Hur, and the son of Judah. And he has filled him with the Spirit of God, in wisdom and understanding, in knowledge, and in all manner of workmanship, to design artistic works, to work in gold and silver and bronze, in cutting jewels and setting for settings, and carving wood, and for the work of all manner of artistic workmanship. Now, since this person follows through the line of Judah to Hur and Uriah, this person is not Bezalel is not a dumb person. He wasn't like a field hand. He had some money. He had some prestige. He wasn't like the regular little slave, right? He learned the craft. He learned that craft in Egypt, in Kemet. But here is Moses taking credit and giving credit to this God. My little heart was so warm today because as I was riding over here, I was listening to an interview with I love the NBA with Wembanyama, and I love the fact that he said at no point did he say that I give all my talent is credited to some deity. Right? He talked about how he did the hard work, how he got his mind strong enough to know that there's anything in the universe he can do. He's talked more about how if there's something that he'll pull from the universe and get done whatever needs to be done in order to fulfill what he desires to fulfill. You know, not that, oh, God gave me all this talent. Hell no, the boy worked for it. He earned his talent. He earned that #1 projected spot tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. He earned that. He gonna get picked #1. But he earned that. He put in the work, the talent. You know how many big 6-foot whatevers and 7-foot jokers I done seen, and they can't play ball to save their life. They ain't putting no work in. You can't teach tall, but you gotta learn skills. I used to be that dude though. I used to be the person to be like, hey, you know, God gave me the ability to research. God gave me I was never the #1 guy on a sports team, but I was like the #2 guy. So I used to be that. God gave me this talent. You know, I was at practice. When I was the #1 guy, I was in baseball. Me and my brother and my uncle used to sit out there in the backyard and we would play strikeout for hours and hours and hours and hours every day, every week. Strikeout, we catch, you know, and when you're playing strikeout, when they hit the ball, you got to get it. You know, my grandfather had me, when I was playing catcher, my grandfather would have me, he'd give me a bucket of 1,000 balls, and he put a bucket at second base, and I would have to grab a ball and, you know, grab the ball and throw it at second base from my knees. And I got to hit that bucket. And if there were more balls outside the bucket than in the bucket, that old man was mad, but I had to hit that bucket. Used to do that constantly. That was a learned skill. No damn gifts from some deity. I learned it. Michael Jordan said something to the effect, everybody who makes it to the NBA is a star. But what makes them an all-star is their work ethic. Same thing with everything that we do, that you do. It is all on you to grow and develop talents. Are there some natural talents that's easier? We call natural talent things that are just easier for one person to acquire an ability than the other. Yeah, you may be naturally prone to something, but you still got to develop it. So you definitely not want to give credit to someone that isn't around. Right. I used to. If you indoctrinated into this religion, born into it, you did. We all used to. And then we blame the devil for our pitfalls. Exactly. The only devil I blame for my pitfall is the one that I see in the mirror. The mistakes that I've made, the decisions I've made, and some of them, they whatever. I learned some stuff, and you keep going. What did Les Brown say? If the devil if I conquer the devil inside of me, then the devil outside of me can do no harm. Something to that effect. It's an African proverb that goes something like that. All right, last little part of this chapter. And he put in his heart the ability to teach. That's his calling, y'all. He got a calling from the Lord. And it kills me when they say these little kids got callings. And they used to tell me that when I was a kid. Oh, that boy got a calling on his life. Look at him. He's 9 years old reading the Bible. Look at him. He's 12, spending his whole summer studying the Bible and at home and at the library. God got a calling on that boy's heart. God got a calling on him. He gonna be a great preacher here in Georgia. He gonna lead many to the promised land, many to the Lord. This is shit they used to say to me. You know, when I was 15, we're gonna make you a junior deacon because we can see that the way you study, the way you talk, that God has put something on you, that he got a great work for you. I wonder if they will still say that today. I really do. I wonder if those, I'm not going to name their names because there are people on here who know some of them, or who listen to this later. They know some of them people. I really wonder what they would say today, especially it's a couple of them in my mind right now who is just 1% sure. Come to me. You know, God told me that he going to put you in works for his kingdom, for his glory. If that was true, then all they asses is wrong and we right. And they need to follow suit. Or maybe that was just them and what they've been indoctrinated into. But that's that whole calling on your heart is a bunch of bullshit. That's just what a person feels and what they think and what they're used to. You know, and then if you tell a child that their entire life, most children are going to grow up and become exactly that thing that you've been telling them. It's just like, there was a young lady I know. Her dad used to call her ugly all the time, right? I mean, she was all right. She was all right looking. But her dad used to always, oh, you know, I love you, my little ugly daughter. And he say it like that. And he used to be like, that's messed up. That is no wonder she got some low self-esteem. Because you've been saying this her whole life, right? So they probably won't. No, I know they won't. But yeah, you can't tell whatever you know. I made sure that my children understood that they were beautiful. I don't care. You give a damn who looking at them. They're beautiful. That they're strong. That they're independent. That their minds are strong. That their wills are strong. That they are not followers. That they are leaders. I put that shit in their head from birth. When they was in the womb, I was, you know, people be talking, oh, hell no. I was giving instructions to them little jokers when they was in the womb, like what they gonna be. And even as they grow up, even now to this day, if I just ask my child, like, who are you? They will say, I am my father's child, or I am a Reed. But most of the time, because I got two girls, I was like, I am my father's child, because their name might change one day. But hell no. My dad used to have this thing. There's the wrong way, there's the right way, and then there's the Reed way. Got a little bit of right, a little bit of wrong, but shit get done. A family ministry in my area is one of the biggest. Yeah. Always a prophecy for the family ministry. So let me go. Teach, and I just start that one over. And he has put in his heart the ability to teach in him. In Aholabib, the son of Ashamat, I'll mess up his name, of the tribe of Dan. He has filled them with the skill to do all manner of work of the engraver and designer and the tapestry maker in blue, purple, and scarlet thread and fine linen, and of the weaver, those who do every work, and those who design artistic work. So he's going to teach the other people how to do this work. He put him in that ability to teach. And that's what he was talking about. I know I was talking about the callings and all that bullshit, but that's what he was talking about them being able to teach other people how to do this work so that the talent can spread. But, you know, that whole putting stuff in your heart, the ability to teach and that stuff, it hit home with me because of all the bullshit that I used to get told when I was a child and a teenager coming up, even as an adult, young adult, even when I was the chairman of the deacon board in my 20s, I had the higher up members of the Kennesaw Baptist Association. What's that? You're gonna be one of the young men that just takes this to higher heights. And then the Methodist church tried to recruit me. But so what do we see from this book, these two chapters I think one of the biggest things is that this shows a contradiction from the earlier 10 commandments to the current, to what's supposed to be the new 10 commandments. That only 2 of those commandments actually survive. Don't create any idol images and to keep the Sabbath. All the other stuff didn't say a word about it. So he said he was going to write down the same thing that was on the first one. So he contradicted himself. He said he was going to write it, but he didn't write it. You know, he had Moses write it. Moses somehow 40 days and 40 nights on a mountain, and he didn't die. We know that's some bullshit. So this guy has all kinds of contradictions. Then he says that, oh yeah, you know, I'm a good God and all this kind of stuff. But we see all the evil that this deity has committed within this book. So we know that he's a liar. I mean, hell, you just killed all the people in Egypt. You killed a man for jizzing on the floor. You know, no, you're not a good God at all, not even slightly. You know, none worth worshiping. And any deity that is God should not require any worship anyway. She does not need any worship. And one of the biggest issues that we saw is that this God is jealous. You cannot have an emotional response of jealousy that then causes you to have fits of anger, because now you're being controlled by your jealousy and your anger because somebody doesn't like you. Somebody chose to worship something other than you. And you're like a spoiled little kid crying and whining about it and saying, I'm going to punish the shit out of you for doing that. If you work on the Sabbath, I'm going to kill you because you gotta worship me. Didn't say anything about slavery, the treatment of women, anything of that nature. But no, he's more concerned about boiling a baby goat in a mother's milk than he is about whether or not somebody is murdering someone is enslaving someone is sexually abusing someone. Women are being treated as property. Not concerned about those things. Concerned about a baby goat being born in his mother's milk. That's what he's concerned about. Making sure all this gold and stuff. And he's definitely afraid of the Canaanites, Hebusites, and all them Jebusites and Hittites and all of them, the Amorites, of their women. Because them Hebrew men about to fall for the pum-pum. So he's very concerned about that. So in order to alleviate that concern, we just gonna kill all of them. That's how we're going to make sure that y'all don't fall for the pum-pum. Yeah. These 2 chapters, as with many chapters, just demonstrate how this is not a good God, nor is it the deity, the all, but it's just either something that people just made up, some previous advanced society that they misunderstood, or some alien society that they misunderstood. I'm more inclined. They just running with the same gag of how they copied the Sumerian and Babylonian story, and now they just writing their own propaganda and just making this stuff up based on what they are trying to guess that the way that the Sumerians had described their deities as being Anunnaki, that they're just running in that same theme, but making it as their own propaganda for themselves. Yep. Let's see what we got. They won't wrong you Ooh, that move. You are wrong. You are a coach, and on her teaching now, they saw your divine soul purpose. They just got the subject matter misconstrued. They sure did. I would grant you that one. They probably did see my ability to teach and to formulate thought and think critically, and just thought that I was going to teach what they had been teaching their entire lives, because that's the norm. A puzzle that they're just jamming their pieces to fit. Oh, definitely. They're just jamming the shit in to fit. If you would have been indoctrinated in a religion, you would never had the desire, knowledge, or the will to deconstruct it and teach us what you have learned. This is a mission and purpose. Yeah, I'm with you. I ain't work. Yeah, typos are fine. Yeah, it is a very good thing that I did not stay indoctrinated in Christianity. No, it wouldn't have been pretty. It wouldn't have been. I'm not that guy. Oh man, I'm not that guy. I've been on TV. The Reverend Dr. Bishop Larenzo has been caught in another scandal. I would have been that guy. I'll tell you right now, I've been that guy. I have a question for you. What do you? Oh, we are now in free thought. Whatever we want to talk about is fine. Thank you, Didi. Said she's glad I didn't either. I have a question for you. What do you? Oh, there you go. What did you think about God creating everything in 6 days, but took well over a century to create the Bible through men when the Word was there in the beginning? Well, all right. So, creating everything in 6 days, but took well over a century. That in itself is the problem. So when you look at this deity creating everything in 6 days, the word that is used for day, I think is something like tome or dome or some word. I forgot the word. It literally means a 24-hour day. So don't let anybody fool you saying that, oh, 1,000 years God is like, a one day to man is like 1,000 years ago. No, the actual words was a 24-hour day. You're exactly right. It is very probably, it is a poorly established plan that you can create all that we see in 6 days, but yet you cannot get your message across to the people except by the most incredibly slowest form possible. None of you got Adam, who's supposed to be this high evolved man, perfection of man, but yet has no written language, doesn't write anything down, doesn't start putting your words, down, and then teaches his kids how to read and write. That reading and writing was not a predominant thing, but became something thousands of years later. And when I say thousands of years later, not that it wasn't around, but thousands of years later before the general public could read. So we're talking like what the general public really in the last 200 years, 100 years have been reading. But prior to that, the illiteracy rate has been incredibly high for most societies. So you trusted word of mouth for thousands of years. You trusted leaderships for thousands of years. This is the poor plan of a supreme deity. Therefore, it is not the supreme deity that is doing this at all. This is man who is doing all of this. And I don't believe that this deity created the earth created the universe in 6 days. Not even slightly. So in the beginning of the question, he didn't. But I would question, and I did question the fact of it took this long. Jesus supposedly came around that time frame, 33 AD. He done, he gone, and yet it took, and still taking 2,000 plus years to get that word around the world. Doesn't make any sense. That would be your methodology. You didn't send somebody to the Mayans and the Aztecs, to sub-Saharan Africa, to the Indus Valley, to Asia, to the South Pacific, to North America. You didn't send nobody. You waited thousands of years, and the only way that you can get that word across, is through conquerors. That's the only way you can get your word. That you must force it through fear? No. I've been unwilling to accept that for a very long time. So, get my flavoring. My flavoring now went to the bottom. Still down there. But that's a very good question. That's a question that people should be You would think people would be asking that in these churches, in these religions. They would question this deity's delivery process. You know, its ability to get his word written down. Because if I tell you a story today, and then, oh no, okay, let's say this wasn't a video. This was, I know most of you guys have been to seminars. And if you've been to a seminar, everybody's in there taking notes, but the notes are going to be different because people are getting a different meaning. Because it's just words. And it's going to be a different perspective. And if you just went home and you just told the people in your community, you know, Dee Dee's telling people in her community, Truth is telling people in his community, Donovan in his community, you know, so on and so forth. Chuck telling people in his community. Everybody's telling different people in their community. The stories are going to change, and then those people are trying to tell the next generation and the next generation, and the stories continue to change. The Hebrew people like to say that, oh, all has this numerical value that enables us to know who's changed what. Well, you didn't get any first writings until Hezekiah, into the 500s, around that time frame. You weren't even mentioned until 1400s BCE. So what about the thousands of years prior? There's no mentioning of you, no mentioning of your story. And if it was handed down by mouth, how would you know that by the time it's actually written, thousands of years later, that this is compatible or comparable to the original? Certainly elements have been changed. Things have been legendized. You go from a local flood to a worldwide flood. Why would we trust that today? Why would we will get into an argument today of whether or not Martin Luther King had an extramarital affair. And that was only, what, 70 years ago? And we can't verify 1% one way or the other, at least to my knowledge, that hasn't been verified 1% one way or the other. We can't. We don't. And we got better technology of tracking history today than they did back then. Hell, unless this whole planet, I mean, the entire planet has to pretty much explode in order for the information that we have today to be completely lost. Like, you know, I told my kids when they were coming up, because I understood, you know, show them an age here. I remember when the internet came out to the public. We was using the internet in the Marine Corps, the internet in the Marine Corps before it actually came out, right? It wasn't nowhere near like it is today, but it was the internet. Nothing ever is deleted from there. I can go and try to wipe, like, let's say I wanted to run for politics, right? If I wanted to run for politics, I got to wipe all my shit. I got to clean the Facebook, clean the YouTube, clean all this stuff off if I wanted to run and be involved in politics, right? No matter how much cleaning I do, everything that I've ever put out is still on some server somewhere. And there are a few places, I think it's 3, where every bit of data goes through on the planet. And those places can survive a nuclear bomb. Everything that you've done on the internet is still available in one form or fashion. But we still have trouble verifying certain things. We still have fors and against. You think these people riding around on donkeys, acting like jennies? Come on. Killing their babies? And I want you guys to go research that one about the killing the babies. Yeah. You'll find it in Exodus 21 or 22. And then in this Exodus 34, giving of the firstborn. You'll find the majority of the consensus is that they were killing the babies. That's sacrifices. Oh, thank you, Errol. Errol donated some cash to the cause. The collection plate is open. Arrow on YouTube, Arrow has opened the collection plate. And as he said, a little something for the collection plate. He killed me with that. Arrow has opened the collection plate. So, shit. I'm supposed to play some music though, Arrow. I gotta get some music going and then start talking about some stuff to get you all ready. So you can just start, coming out your pocket. Ain't that's how they do it? Or how you do it? Gotta capture your emotions to get you to do that. But I do greatly appreciate the financial donations that Arrow always come through with some financial donations. I appreciate that always. If you guys don't know, but you should know that my goal plan is to move to Puerto Rico where I can do this full time, where I can do this for the majority of my day. I ain't gonna say full time because there's other channels that I will be also producing videos on. Like I told you guys earlier, go to Really Did You Know? Great little, colloquialisms or ways that we do things. That's you're gonna find the origin, and they just started. She just started the channel. So there's only 2 videos out there right now, but she's under instructions to start producing a lot more videos. And I just started another new channel called In and Out to Legacy Businesses, which is basically we do like I'm working with some people. These hats, I'm going to start selling these hats because I want to show you guys how you take something simple like this hat. You build up an audience. People like the hat. You put it out there. You sell it. It may only last you a year. It may last you a month. It may last you 5 years. But it's an in and out business. You sell some of these hats right now. You're not trying to make your life on this hat. But many people start a business. They're trying to make their whole life on that damn business. No. You use that as a stepping stone. And you save some of the money. So for the next thing, you catch fads when fads come. You try to get ahead of them. Things of that nature. And then Didi know what I'm talking about because back in the day, Didi we did some business coaching together. But you do some things to lead up to the greater things, because creating a true legacy business takes a hell of a lot of money most of the time, or it takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. So I'm going to do a video today about budgets because you got to get on a budget if you're going to start doing this. But we all need to become more financially astute and make more money. Yes, affiliate programs. I'm gonna talk about those affiliate programs, but you gotta be able to manage them correctly. I've seen people make money with things, but then they spend all the damn money. Like, no. And one of the books that I want us to do for after we finish the Kabbalion and maybe another book we're gonna do. Well, one of the first 5 or 6 books is going to be The Richest Man in Babylon. So I'm gonna get on y'all nerves with that one, but we're gonna do The Richest Man in Babylon. It's not a spiritual book, but money has a spirit. So definitely go like those 2 channels. So I'm gonna throw that plug in there again real quick. Now back to so you got to get that new charger. Oh, doors of the church are open. Ooh, the doors of the church are open. Yeah. I saw a house in Puerto Rico yesterday. I'd rather get that house, but it's at the very, very, very top of what I'm willing to spend. Which means I ain't going to spend it unless I'm already making more money by the time I get that time frame. Money most definitely have a spirit. It does. Money has a spirit. But I do want y'all to prepare yourselves because I ain't going to say when, but within the first 2 years of me being in Puerto Rico, we're going to have an event, a retreat event in Puerto Rico. Within the first 2 years. And I just made that up in my head right now. Hadn't thought about that previously. Just made it up. And y'all have been with me for a while. Y'all know I'm not big about doing seminars and retreats and all that kind of stuff because I've never done one. In all these years, I've never done one. Right. And Some of y'all know I used to go, like Kevin Wesley would be doing one, and I would go and be a part of his. Like he would call me and say, hey man, I want to do this thing. You want to come? I want you to come. And I would go. But I'd never done one on my own. I'd go do theirs. Chuck said, I'm there already. Wait, what do you mean by that? You already in Puerto Rico? Or you just mean that like metaphorically, like I'm already there, like I'm coming. Oh, damn. And say, you already there, bro. I need you to go check out some things for me. What up, Dark Green? Dark Green, I don't want you to get mad at me. But I was in Wilmington, North Carolina over the weekend. And I forgot to like say something to you because I know you right up the street. All right, so you're gonna be there for them. But don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me. But next time I go to Wilmington, I'm gonna let you know. And then you can come to Wilmington. We can meet up at, Rocco's Cigar Lounge and hang out with my Marine. Or I'm gonna go up to Camp Lejeune. I just reminisce for a little bit. We're gonna do the Gnostic Gospel, right? Oh, hell yes. Yes, indeed. After the Kabbalion, it is my plan, unless y'all say otherwise, and there's a resounding otherwise, the Gospel of Thomas is next. The Gospel of Thomas is next. I'm not doing shit right now. Put me to work. Yeah, I wish I could. I can't afford to pay nobody. I'm still building this lounge up. Oh yeah, if you want to read that one, the Gospel of Thomas, Dee, Jeremy, yes. Oh yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all. I discovered my discovery of the Gospel of Thomas was when was the second time I went to the Vatican? That would have been, let's see, was my daughter born? I went down to Italy that first time. No, she wasn't born yet. So that would have been in somewhere around 94, 95. 94, 95. When I went to the Vatican. And I was in the Vatican archives. And one of the priests there, I will never say his name because he wasn't supposed to show it to me. But he saw my interest, and he was like, you should check out this, basically check out this Gospel of Thomas, dude. And he gave me a translation of it. Right. I wish I still had it, but it got stolen in my last military move. They stole they stole all my stuff, like a lot of my stuff, uniforms, all kind of stuff. But that Gospel of Thomas, that thing put a change. I was still kind of sort of trying to like in and out of Christianity at the time, But that thing I was still in my process. But that Gospel of Thomas, it made me start reading a bunch of other books that weren't canonized, that they made illegal. And some of that second saying, to me is one of the best ones, where it says that seeking ye shall find, and when you find, you will be disturbed. After you are disturbed, you will marvel. After you marvel, you will reign over all. Not all people, over all of you. That thing that hit home. And then when it kept calling the body, this amitsu, he kept calling this the poverty. I was like, the idea of, the material world holds you in poverty. But we ain't gonna get into that. We ain't gonna get deep in that. Y'all gonna have to wait. That's gonna be some good stuff. And we'll do some of the, and then we'll like go to some other stuff and come back into that one. We'll do the, um, y'all know that I love the Tao. The Tao Te Ching is uh, one of my favorite books of philosophy. So we'll do that one, because this channel is not just about in the process of deconstructing. We need to understand other philosophies as well. We might do art. At some point, we'll do the Emperor's Guidebook, by Marcus Aurelius. It ain't by Marcus Aurelius, but it's the quotes of Marcus Aurelius. The Emperor's Guidebook, I think, is a great book for you developing your own self. Um, one of the things that sticks out from that book is he says simply, "It's up to you. It is up to you. All things that succeed, things that fail, it is up to you. At the end of the day, you cannot blame anybody else. You cannot look for anybody else. It is up to you." Yep, the Gospel of Judas, because Judas, and the Gospel of Judas was interesting because it's really telling the story the story, as far as, especially when it gets to, the whole crucifixion and all that kind of stuff. Judas is he's not the bad guy. Actually, Judas wound up in that story having to carry a weight, that secret things were told to Judas, and Judas had to do certain things that the other ones weren't going to understand, and that he was persecuted for it. In the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, great, Jesus' wife. Uh, we're even going to go and do like the secret writings of Adam, I think it's called the secret writings of Adam and Eve, or some secret writings of Adam, where Adam is like, nah, the serpent was cool. It's that damn Yahweh dude who was messed up. He telling his son Seth, nah, Yahweh is the one who screwed us over. Good stuff. Gonna be some good stuff here. This is why y'all gotta share the channel. Gotta get more people. I mean, because I was thinking, like yesterday, I was realizing that we could probably get more people and grow the channel and build a bigger community if I was able to do this in the evenings instead of in the mornings. That if we was doing that at 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, Eastern Standard Time, that we would be able to, one, spend more time, because I would have other things, coming up, like customers. But as well, that's when more people have availability. Like, I know some of you guys are at work right now. Some of you guys, you can't really focus in. I like what you did with the Bardo, the Bardo Toto. Would love the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Yep, gotta do the Egyptian Book of the Dead. That damn Bardo Toto over there, going through samsara. I've been reluctant to talk about that book for a very long time because I didn't want people thinking that I'm trying to push, any form of Buddhism. Not. It just has one of the best descriptions of how I think and what I perceive your death cycle would be, and bring your ass back here. I should share more than I do. Yeah, things will change, and I would share. Yeah, and you should. And I was reluctant to share some things because of the people that was around me in my life, trying to keep peace with them. And it took me a time to just be like, to hell with that. Oh, the Emerald Tablets. We're going to go through the Emerald Tablets. Now, let me tell you, the Emerald Tablets can throw you off, because every time you read it, I've read the Emerald Tablets. They suggest you read the Emerald Tablets 100 times. I'm probably somewhere in the 50, 60 range right now with the Emerald Tablets. You learn it's some new stuff every time I read that thing. And it's great. Emerald Tablets. I Outwitting the Devil. Excuse me. Outwitting the Devil that's a long ass book to kind of read, but we're gonna do it. I think the Emerald Tablets is a very important book, uh, especially with his wife not wanting him to put it out, and just the way he can. It's a really good book as far as your inner being, your inner self. And it was written in 1938. The Gospel of the 12. I'm not familiar with that one, Michael. Oh, Didi just wrote down that Outwitting the Devil. It's a great book. I definitely can focus in delivering mail and listen to you walk up and down the hills in Pittsburgh. Oh, so you're in Pittsburgh. There's somebody on my page who's a Steelers fan. Are you able to pinpoint what exactly kept you in Christianity for the time you were in? Oh yeah, family. So I'm about to give some validation for something that we just read in Exodus 34 or 35. When Yahweh, this guy was scared to, he didn't want them making covenants with the people, with the Amorites and the Hittites and all of them, because he didn't want the men going after the women with the pom pom. So in my walk, from 9 to 15, it really didn't bother me too much that there were people that I was reading and there were people who was mad at me and all this kind of stuff. But then in second period French class, I met this little girl. Very Christian family and all that kind of stuff. I actually started going back to church to be with her. And not just her brother became my best friend. So that was my guy. And he was all into the church too. And I ain't gonna lie, the pastor, Reverend Dillon, he was phenomenal with the youth. I mean, we was going places, doing things. He was phenomenal with the youth. And this was a church full of old people who didn't like children, shut up and be quiet, don't speak kind of environment. So it was that circle of friends, and then Russell being my best friend and dating his sister. It was just, that kept me for a while. That kind of drew me back into it. And then it made my grandmother happy, and she was feeling happy about it. And my grandfather had just passed away, and I was staying with my grandmother, and I was taking care of her as much as I could. It kind of kept me in there. And then after high school, I married her, and that kind of kept me there initially. But then as we moved away from family and all that environment, I started saying, nah, I can't. But I didn't want to go too far because I still wanted her to be happy and all this sort of thing. But we did have agreements of our kids are going to learn about every religion. They're going to choose for themselves. So she knew that part of me before we got married, So and the religion wasn't a problem. That wasn't the reason why the marriage didn't work. But it was family back then. It was family, friends, having friends, because I was a person who I never had more than 2 friends at a time. Never had more than 2 friends at a time. I keep my circle tight. I still keep it tight today. But that's what kept me. Because I had been an outcast for 4 or 5 years before I found them, before I started hanging out with all of them. And it wasn't fun being an outcast when you 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, 13. It was hard. The only thing that kept people from being too mean to me was that I was one of the better athletes in the area. Do you do books like Christianity Before Christ? I've never heard of that book. But we will do the Enuma Elish. And we will do that one. And some of the Sumerian books. It's a video on YouTube called An Interview with the Devil. I've listened to that video well over 10 times. It's about 3 hours long. Ah, shit. I listened to that years and years ago. Like less than 10 years ago, I listened to it. I can't remember. Interview with the Devil. I remember listening to it. I remember thinking, I remember digging it, but I can't remember what that was about. I can't remember the details of it. But yep, that's what kept me in there. But my curiosity was I wasn't going to stay. There's no way I was going to stay. I mean, it's 12 o'clock. Let me unlock this door real quick. But let's see, what did he say? Where did I see that? Okay, but I got a question for you, Greg Anthony. Christianity before Christ. How can there be a Christianity before Christ? Like the concept of that is not making any sense to me, because you don't have Christianity until you have this Christ figure. So how can there be Christianity before the Jesus character? Because the people before that were waiting for the Messiah. They were waiting for the Christos. Unless you're talking about the many different anointed ones before, and you're just looking at it from the point of being anointed, as far as within Judaism. Or are you talking about Christianity before the Romans took over and formerly called it Christianity when it was the Christians or called the Way? So I need a little more info on that part. I appreciate that, Dwayne. I enjoyed the conversation myself. I always enjoy these conversations. I'm gonna shoot some other videos today. I heard a lot of crazy stuff on YouTube, TikTok yesterday that I wanted to expound on, but those are gonna be separate little 3 to 5 minute videos. If you ever wonder why I don't do, because I told you guys, I as much as I do appreciate the financial donations, I want Facebook and YouTube to pay for this development. And that requires you guys, so all I ask is that you guys share the video to get more people on the channel. Facebook, I cannot monetize lives yet. So that's why I do more of the 3 to 5 minute videos, because you can't monetize lives on Facebook. They're monetized on YouTube. Because I don't want to depend on, I know some people, they depend on Patreons and all that stuff. I don't want to depend on that. We're gonna make the algorithm work. So if y'all know anything about how to make the algorithm work any better, just let me know. Like other hashtags or other titles, or if you don't think my thumbnails are good enough, or whatever other things. And as these algorithms change, if you notice anything, let me know. Let a brother know. Jews are Hebrews that identify themselves as coming from the tribe of Judah. Yeah, I get that. But we commonly refer to all of them as Jewish. Even if you can show that you come from the tribe of Dan or one of the Benjamin or somebody else, it's generally the tribe of Judah. I mean, you're still considered Jewish. The concept of Christ was there before Christianity, but the Christianity that we know was not there before Christ. Yes, I agree. The concept of Christ was there, but no one had fulfilled it. So, but no one had fulfilled the idea of a Christ. So that would be the Messianic Jews. And then you get your, because even at that time frame, you had Messianic Jews, but you had divisions within Judaism of those who were trying to create and force the situation. And then you had the ones who were trying to live and become more Romanized and more Hellenized and just trying to stay with the state. So you had different types of, so are you referring to that? But a concept of a Christ already being there and already came, they didn't have none of that. They're still waiting on it. Okay, so yeah, we thinking the same way. People get the algorithm and views by lying on their thumbnails. Yeah, I do know that trick, man, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to lie on thumbnails. Correct with that statement? Okay. I refuse to do the lying ass thumbnails, man. Because you can, like what do they call that? Clickbait. I'm not gonna do that. That's dishonorable. I'm gonna put what it is. I try to use thumbnails that got like certain pictures of certain things. What I really should do, well, I could make more dramatic thumbnails if I took time. I can make more dramatic thumbnails, like, and that sort of thing. But I could do that. That'll help. I love your work on recovering from religious ignorance and sleep. Oh man, I don't want to mess up your name. Is the N silent and it's Kosi? Shad and man, I would mess up those last two names. Methandozo, Dandazo, Gediza. I don't want to just call you Shad since that's the only one I know I'm saying right. But is it Kosi? I don't know. I'm like Russell Peters. He's a Canadian Indian comedian. He said he wanted to, the African language that has the click in it. I want that as a name. When I move to Africa, I'm changing my name. I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna get that one. I forgot what tribe that is. And it's like, it's like right there in your brain. You can't think about it, but you know the name. I'm gonna get that. I want that in my name. Renz. Yeah, I like that. But I don't know how you get it officially. But is it Kosi? David, Noah, Moses, Esther, etc. were considered as Christ, as anointed. Right. So the anointed people who were considered, yeah. I mean, I know some stuff about that kind of thing, but enough where I can talk about it. But how the Christians, I was always taught when I was in Christianity that these people were all done by God or situated by God in order to create a precursor to Jesus, and that they would all lead to Jesus, and that you can find elements of them within that. And then I used to always tell them, or the writers borrowed from those people, like Esther's submission to the king in order to save the people, submission to Xerxes in order to save her people, and her going through her purification, which was her fumigating herself in order to do so, was like a symbology of how Jesus had to purify himself in order to save his people, and then he just had the ultimate sacrifice to be the sacrifice that this guy loves this sacrifice. And when goats and lambs wouldn't do, a human had to be done. And Moses as the leader, bringing his people out of bondage, and Jesus supposedly bringing you out of spiritual bondage. David being a king who came out of obscurity. Jesus coming out of obscurity to become the king. What else? We got anything else? Y'all know if y'all stop talking to me, we will adjourn. We'll have altar call. We'll have altar call up in here. If this message has hit your heart and you are willing to walk away and receive the deconstruction, the purification of release from this religion, come forward now. Come forward now. We're waiting on you. Freedom is waiting on you. Freedom is here for you. Come on, come on, come on, come on. The universe is telling me that there is somebody out there who's been struggling with walking away. There's somebody out there whose family members has been tearing them from one end to another, want to walk away from them and leave them destitute. There are those out there. I feel that somebody's out there. There's a woman whose husband is threatening a divorce right now. If she don't join back with the church, and if she walks away, it's threatening divorce. Come to the altar. Come on up. Come on up, y'all. We're going to have some altar call. I think the biblical concept of free will is why I got out of the Bible. Altar call. Yeah. That is, that's the thing. That's one of the reasons why this deity cannot be as it said in 35, that this God is a jealous God, right? And want them to destroy all the will there be another come. But one of the reasons, if you truly gave a free will, then there wouldn't be a punishment if they choose something other than you, right? Give you a personal example. I taught my children, it is my preference that my son is with a black woman, or at least a woman of color. It is my preference that my daughters be with a black man or a man of color. But they have the free will to choose whoever treats them however they desire, in the ways that shows them love, that means love to them. They have that free will. And I will not allow my own bias of what I desire for them to supersede what makes them happy. And I will be welcoming to anybody who treats them correctly. Now, if one of my daughters were to marry a white man, would I be happy about it? Part of me, no. Am I not happy about it because he's white? It's not because he's white, and there's no such thing as a white person anyway. Peach. Am I happy? No, it's not because they lack melanin. It is because I understand the society that they live in and the extra hell and demonization that they're going to have to deal with. That is my reason. The lack of melanin is not why I would be so but it's what they have to deal with. I don't want my daughters to deal with some bullshit, nor do I want my son to. Well, I do want him to deal with certain levels of bullshit that make him a man, but you know, I don't want. That's my main reason. My main preference for them being with another black man is not because he's a black man. It's because life is hard enough for people of color. Why make it more difficult? That's my main reason. But if they choose somebody else, it's all about how they treat them. But I give them that free will without saying, if you don't choose somebody who is of the same, what we call race, then I'm going to now disown you. I'm not going to be there for you financially. I'm not giving you no more of my love. You can't come around the family no more. You know, I would never do that. But this evil ass deity said, oh, I'm going to give you free will, but if you don't choose me, your ass is either going to go into oblivion and cease to exist, according to the Jewish, or your ass is going to burn in hell. It's not love. And that's not free will. It's not even free will. You know, that's coercion. You silly. Have a good and positive day, Coach. Pastor R in the house. Hey, man, got to have some fun. So Jeremy agrees with me. It's on fire there. Did you know really? On YouTube, y'all see the person who says, did you know really? I bet you can probably click on their name and their page will come up, and then you can follow that page. Really talking about me? Get out of the house, Pastor. I ain't talking to you, C-Mac. I'm not talking to C-Mac. C-Mac and Debbie know I ain't talking to them, and they know why. You over there, Debbie, and you down there, C-Mac. Yeah, y'all know why. Yeah, I'm gonna come by the lounge. I'm gonna come by the lounge. Y'all know I ain't seen them. They ain't came by the lounge yet. Dark Green said he coming to Atlanta this. I think he moving to Atlanta sometime this summer or fall or something like that. Let him come down here and don't come by here. Even though I just was up in North Carolina and I didn't go to Camp Lejeune, or let him know that he was only like 45 minutes away from him. Besides the point. But yeah, that free will, you don't have it in Christianity. But they'll try to say you have free will to choose whether or not you're going to love the Lord or go to hell. Who would choose that if that was real? If that was real, no one would choose it. If that was real, I'm be honest with you. If this Yahweh came down right now into the lounge and he said, all right, Renz, here's the deal. Either you follow my book, the Bible, and then he opened up the earth and I see all the hell, the torment. I ain't talking about no fake ass, oh, I was near-death experience, and oh, I had a dream, and none of that. No, in my conscious ass state right now, walk in the door, prove to me that you God, because you're going to have to prove it, that you God and not an alien. Don't woo-woo me with some magic shit, but the flow crack open and we take an elevator to hell. You ain't giving me a choice at that point. There's no choice. Like, dude, you seriously ain't going down there? You ain't gave me a choice. Now, I'm still going to have some questions, dude. You got to do better. Okay? You got to do better. Now, God probably don't, this guy don't want me up there. Because I'm going to get on his goddamn nerves. I'm telling you right now. I'm going to get on his nerves. I don't know if y'all had kids. C-Mac said he'll be here on Monday. What time? Make sure that I'm here. Even though I'm going to be here all day Monday anyway, but I want to make sure. I don't run no errands or nothing. I don't want to hear no lip. Y'all remember when your children, when they hit that Y stage? That was the most irritating goddamn on stage of being a parent. Irritating as hell. Why, daddy, why? Daddy, why? Daddy, why? Why? Daddy, why? Because this, and this. Why? Well, why? Oh my God. I had to nurture their curiosity, but God dang, I wanted to say, shut up! Just shut up. You don't need to know why. It's gone. But that's how I will be. If Yahweh is real, if he ain't real, but if he was real, and he let me in, that just gonna be sitting on the phone like, oh my, this joker right here, the hell I created. God dang, he gonna look over at Asher like, you serious? You see this man? This joker. I mean, let's make limbo again, or purgatory or something. I don't want to send him all the way down there, but God dang, he got to get out of my presence. He getting on my nerve. 10:30. Oh, man, I don't open till noon, even though I'm supposed to be here doing a live. Matter of fact, okay, if you guarantee me that you will be here 10:30, 11 o'clock, I will make sure that I'm here doing a live, because I'll be doing a live. You can come on in here. Or if we need to stop the live, we can stop it. But if you guarantee me, now you have me here and you don't show up, I'm going to fight you, dude. I'm going to fight. I ain't been in a good fight in a number of years. But yeah, this version of heaven is not a place for me to go, because I'm getting on his nerves. I'm getting on the angels' nerves. All of them. I got questions for all of them. Last one of them. And it might take an eternity, and I will not be satisfied unless he's like, hey man, look, I ain't write that shit. That is not what I said. I said this. Them jokers went off on their own tangent and wrote their own stuff. You supposed to decipher it. That's the only reason you up here, because you decipher some of the bullshit. That's the only way that joker gonna get me to stop talking. Hold on for later. Ooh. My plug wasn't even good for TikTok. TikTok, you almost got cut off. But that'll be it. You better be telling me some, hey, you coming to be on the live. All right. Y'all heard C-Mac say he coming to be on the live. And we're going to talk about whatever you want to talk about, C-Mac. So have your subject matter ready. Or subjects. So Kosi is, yes, that's the tribe. Kosa. Word which means a king, but in my case means what does the king say, because I am. Is the N how you get the click sound? Is it shit, I can't do it now. Cozy to me. I was the original was the original intention of the religion ever to save or destroy humanity? Did we ever need this religion? Was the original intention of religion ever to save or destroy humanity? Did we? I believe that the original intention of religion was to enslave people. No, let me stop that. Let me go back. The original intention of religion was to try to explain natural phenomena that they didn't understand scientifically. Like the volcano erupted, because the original religions was more animism, which that was everything has a spirit, that the earth has a spirit, the volcano has a spirit, the wolf has a spirit, everything has a spirit. They didn't understand tectonic plates and the plate shift and the lava comes up and boom, they got a volcano. They didn't understand the science behind that. They didn't understand the science behind hurricanes. So they gave it a deity. They said it must be some god, some deity. So this goes beyond before the Sumerian and the Anunnaki, that they were animism. So originally it was to try to explain natural phenomena. But as those who understood manipulation came into play, they recognized that if they become the intercessory between the deity and the people, that they would get power. So then it became a power play. And of course, the royalty or the leadership, they were able to utilize that as well. It wasn't until later on that you get where the power structure really looked at it as a way to enslave people. And in that, you get the idea. I think it's Marduk was one of the first ones to start saying that if you obey me and follow me, you will live an afterlife in this heaven place. You get to live with the gods. And that became deal with your struggles, deal with all the other bullshit you have to deal with so that you can have heaven after. And then that's when it became some salvation thing. But did we ever need this religion? It's an easy no. You don't need religion. You don't need religion. And nor do you need this relationship as people are starting to use today. When I was growing up, nobody talked about relationship. That's some new shit that they talking about today because religion has a negative connotation now. But relationship, you don't need relationship. How can you have relationship? You can relate to, but you're not going to have a personal relationship with a deity. So it's become that bullshit now. But you don't need religion nor relationship. You just need knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. That's it. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And when you apply wisdom, when you apply that knowledge and that understanding and you walk in it and it is beneficial to you and those around you and to the community, then you are walking in that wisdom. You are a better person. You live a better life. And you are better to the people, and everybody else gets better when you're walking in that. You don't need religion to do that. You don't need a relationship with some deity to do that. If I got to have a relationship with some deity in order to treat Angelina perfect, treat her with care and respect and love and kindness, then I got a problem. There's something wrong with me. I don't need a religion to do that. To treat my kids and raise them in a way that makes them productive, moral people, I don't need a religion for that. But no, it's a power structure. Barely made it through confrontation because I was a questioner. My great aunt was the bookmaker for the church. I think that's why I pushed through. Good. Yeah, it was. You are going to deal with a lot of confrontation in walking away from this thing. That's one of the reasons why I still do this. Like I told you guys, originally it was so that my kids will have my information if something happened to me while they were still small, and they lacked the ability to, the maturity to understand everything I was saying. It was now truly, I don't have to do as much of this for my kids anymore. Enslave the mind of people was the reason for religion. Yeah, religion came about to enslave people. Once they realized they can control the people, think about it. Rome stopped having as big of a standing army once they started utilizing religion to enslave the people, which consequently was part of their demise, because then later on they didn't have a big enough standing army to be able to defeat the people who were coming after their butt. Trust no man or woman or religion. Take hold of the Holy Scriptures to direct your path direct you back to Jesus. We've been reading through this book, and it is not directing us to Jesus in any form or fashion. As if anything, reading and studying this book, we walk away from it. Now, if you have a predetermined location like that, no matter what you read, no matter what you come to understand, you are going to ignore it if it causes you to think otherwise. Then there's no reason to even read the book, because you've already decided what everything is going to be. So when it talks about genocides and all those sorts of things, you're going to justify it one way or another. So why are you even reading it if you're just going to justify it to make it fit your predetermined location? We read it with an open mind, which is why we walked away from it. One minute Yahweh gives laws to sacrifice, the next minute he's saying he never told them to sacrifice. Oh, definitely. Definitely. And then we look at all the changes that people have made to this book. Appreciate that, James. I mean, I don't understand how people who read this book will ever justify the young lady who is sexually assaulted, and then the assailant pays 50 pieces of silver, and then she got to marry her assailant and then provide children for him. How do you justify that? I know that person is probably gone now because I only see one person there on TikTok. But how do you justify that? You cannot, in any good consciousness. In the Gospel of Thomas, that I am my heaven. Oh, in the Gospel of Thomas, I am my heaven and hell in me. That's what I take from all of this. Yeah, the Gospel of Thomas that is an overarching story in the Gospel of Thomas. It is heaven and hell is inside of you. And then that if you don't bring out the spirit, if you live based on the body, which they call poverty, you stay in hell. But if you have to exist inside your spirit, that is heaven. And it's not a far off place. It's right now. It's not in time. It's right now. It's all around you. You can have it. You know, we had a slice of heaven yesterday. We bought, Angelina bought this little cheap ass grill, little bitty ass thing. We all decided to go get some meats. I ate meat yesterday. I got to get back down to no meat. I'm lying. I ain't gonna get to no meat again. But we out there chewing up in the parking lot, you know, having good conversation, laughing and joking. You know, my lady was here. We're having fun. We're having a good day. That was heaven. That was heaven. And there was a mixture of people. There was people like me. There was people who were Christian. And we enjoyed each other's company. We do that all the time. That's heaven. You know, get to see my kids and hang out with them. Heaven. Went and watched the Flash movie. Other than the fact that my dumb butt ate half a trough of watermelon about 2 hours before we went to the movies. And so I kept having to go to the bathroom in the middle of the movie. But watching the Flash movie, that was a little piece of heaven. Little piece of heaven. Now, we started this trip. We was on my motorcycle. We got almost 2 hours away from home, and the goddamn bike started breaking down, but I was able to keep it in fourth or fifth gear. And I had to ride fourth or fifth gear all the way back home. That was hell. Because the whole time I'm like, dang, I'm messing this transmission up some more probably. But the fact that I'm looking at, dang, we was 2 hours, now we got like 2 hours back. That's 4 hours. And then after that, we got 5, the way I drive, we got a 5-hour drive. That was 9 hours of driving. I don't like driving that long. That was hell. Well, the part on my bike was hell. Once we got in the car, started driving, I was all right. You know, because we driving, smoking cigars, talking. I'm zooming in and out of cars, driving like the way I like driving. So, heaven and hell is every day. It could be every moment. Doing these videos for me is heaven. Right? It's heaven. There was only one time when doing videos was hell to me. And that was the time. You have to been with me back in the day. This is back when I used to do Kevin's show all the time, Kevin Wesley's show. And I went in on this guy who was saying something that irritated the hell out of me. I don't remember what it was, but he started crying. I felt bad. I never want to make somebody feel that way. Like, those are heaven, but people don't. You're right, Jeremy. People don't realize that. Yeah, I mean, look, man, Michael, when I'm on somebody's live and I'm just sending messages, I be messing up some text all the time. That dang autocorrect gets sending the wrong words sometimes. I came into the belief via Hebrew Israelite 4 years strong. I studied myself in the Bible and studied myself out of the Bible. But I still like to entertain the entertainment the book provides. Yeah, that's a lot of us, man. That's a lot of us. We studied our way. Well, most of us studied our way out of it. And I was attempting to study myself into it more. That was my attempt. My thought process was, I'm going to study this book, validate this book, and then I'm going to be a big proponent of this book. I know I would have became not, it's good that I didn't, but I would have became a pastor. Because for me, running a business is fine. Don't get me wrong. I love having a business is great. I'm not a good employee. I'm never a good employee. I would never, ever be a good employee. Because as soon as I walk in the door, I'm looking at ways to improve this stuff. So I'm a bad employee. Because people don't like when you do that. To live my life just running my mouth, to study and just talk and study and talk, that's the best life. I am mad that dude in high school talked me out of becoming an archaeologist. Right? That's because you have empathy. I don't know if I got empathy now. Y'all be getting, most of the time, y'all get a nicer version of me. Oh, because I made a dude cry and I didn't want to do them debate shows no more, man. Them debate shows. I realized that if I'm going to debate somebody, they have to be, and this sounds arrogant, but they have to be of equal mental abilities. As soon as I see they're not, I'm ready to end the debate. Hold on, my mail lady coming. Hey, young lady.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. You have a great day as well. I'm waiting on my new license. They keep taking all day. But yeah, walking away from that Hebrew Israelite one had to be hard. In your opinion, where do people who are evil go when they cross over? Those that are intent on evil and choose not to be in the upper realms of heaven. Well, so okay, I gotta fix that. I thought that's what that was. Here's the thing about that. If we look at most people don't think that what they do is evil, right? Most people don't. Didi said there are 7 different heavens that evil beings reside. Most people don't think that they're doing evil. That dude in Germany, and the only reason I say it that way because these channels be tripping when you say something like that. That dude in Germany actually thought that he was doing right. He thought he was doing God's work. That's what he literally thought. He thought he was a good guy. We judge him as evil. And history judged him that evil because he lost. If he had won, history would judge him totally different because the history books would be written different with a different slant to it. Now, that being said, we know that there are certain things that are wrong. Murdering people is wrong. This genocide is wrong. But this deity does genocide and instructs the people to go commit genocide. But in reality, when we look at how things in nature actually work, energy transmute from one state of being to another state of being. Our consciousness will transmute from one state to another state. These are the things that we're calling heavens, or different levels of heaven, different levels of hell. You will create whatever you think you belong, wherever you think you belong. Meaning, in your core being, you have a thought as to what you believe you deserve. But when you go through that death cycle, you will have opportunities to go wherever you think you deserve. Those who have committed evil, there are those who committed that think and truly believe that they deserve a heaven. And when they're going through what the Tibetan Book of the Dead calls samsara, if their mind is sharp enough, convinced enough, they will enter into what they have deemed is heaven. If they are holding on to guilt or shame or fear during that process, they will either choose to go to a hell, or out of the fear, they'll return back to earth and live a whole nother life. They'll enter another womb and live a whole different life, and do this shit again. This is one of the reasons why I believe the population of the earth keep growing. People are like, oh, where are the new souls coming from? They ain't new souls. It's just the same ones. Keep coming back, and keep on coming back. But they're coming back into wombs that they think they deserve to be in as well. They're choosing a womb that fits mostly of what they're more attracted to. Sorry. Waiting on Amazon package. I thought that was Amazon truck. But they are. So it's not so much a deity determining the judgment of where a person would go, as much as it's more of you determining where you're going to go. Like, you decide. So I can't say where you're going to go, Jeremy. I can't say where Dee Dee's going to go, where C-Mac is going to go, where Angelina's going to go, Misty, Chuck, nobody. I don't know where, Chef going to go, Ghostie's going to go. They'll decide. You'll decide. The real question is, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you carrying any fear? Because there are many people who have deconstructed, and I was in this position for probably a good 10, 15 years, where even though I had walked away from Christianity, knew that I had walked away, done with Christianity, ain't no way I'm believing that. There was a little tiny bit of fear inside of me of, going to hell, to some type of hell, Muslim hell, Jewish oblivion, or Christian hell. There was a little bit. There was that part of me that couldn't take a Bible and throw it on the floor or burn it or throw it in the trash. It was that little bit of still in me, that couldn't do that. And I kept recognizing that, like, okay, if I walked away from this, I don't believe in this book. Why do I have this little inside of me every time I want to throw away this book or burn this book? And I would challenge myself, can you burn this book without having that fear, without having that little bit, right? All right, do you still have any of that in you? Because if you do, at the moment of death, you're going to have to deal with it. And in that moment, are you going to then become strong enough to say, you know what? That's bullshit. I see the white light right there. I'm going to the white light because I understand I choose this. Or you're going to see, like how in the Bardo Toto, it talks about, you're going to see the little, your own projections of demons and devils, you projecting this, and you're going to fall to them, get fearful of them, and then run to, either go into their hell or allow them to torment you, because you're really just your own mind tormenting yourself, your own consciousness tormenting yourself? Or are you going to say, oh shit, I see some other little whole lights over there, the purple one, the green one, the blue one, those are some wounds, and I'm going to run into one of those wounds and now try it again. But when you try that again, you're going to forget every goddamn thing damn near that you learned in the previous life. And then you got to go through the process. You're going to be born into a religion, and you got to walk away from that religion again. You got to go through the whole process again. So I don't think there's a hell that evil people go to other than the ones they create themselves. That was a long ass way just to say that. Yep, they're doing, they believe they're doing their God's work. Yes, I'm talking about people that are serial killers, rapists, baby abusers, those that are clearly evil. When you do your life review, the elders and the guys will coach you through and counsel you. And I'm going to the realm of the benevolent, elevated ancestors. All right. Yes. Okay. There may be higher conscious beings who may guide you. Nobody knows. They may be. But it's still going to come down to what you think. Now, a person who's been serial killing and doing all that kind of stuff, they, except for the ones, there are those who do that stuff with no remorse, with no guilt. But for the most part, there's a level of guilt that they're carrying. And them fools, they're either going to create their own hell or come back and try it again. C-Mac stupid. C-Mac said he going to the upper room and he gonna drink unlimited Kool-Aid and unlimited wings, watch the Falcon games for the rest of his eternity. Man, sometimes watching the Falcon game is hell, bro. I be struggling with them jokers sometimes. But when I was in church, the teenagers used to ask me all the time, because I was like the teen minister for a little while, what is heaven like? And I would tell them, imagine the best place. What's the best place you can imagine just for you? And they would go through that process. And I would tell them, that's your heaven. That's what it is. It's what you create. There were Gnostics that believed that you had to try everything in life or you couldn't make it to the realm of light. True. That is part of the Gnostic teaching. It was certain groups of the Gnostics. You had to keep repeating this life and try everything before you can go into the realm of light. Meaning, you have to try murder. You have to try sexual assault. You have to try all kinds of stuff that we view as negative in order to get there. You had to try journeying somewhere, not going nowhere, being everything, and you had multiple lives that you would go through in order to do all of that. I don't particularly care for that part, because that lends more to you're a spiritual being here having an earthly experience, which you are having an earthly experience, but that's not the goal. You know what I'm saying? That's not your assignment to come and have all these earthly experiences, because if you are already a highly conscious being, why do you already know all this bullshit down here and on the matter plane? You know it. It would be like God saying that, like some people used to teach that God, we all came down here so that God can experience what it's like to be human. So God can experience what it's like to cry, what it's like to suffer, what it's like to have, to birth a child, to be a father, to be a mother, to be a child, to be a victim, to be an assailant, to amass great wealth, to go through every experience that you can possibly think of, so that creator can know it. You ain't the damn creator if you don't already know it. You have to, in order to be the creator, to be omniscient, you have to already have known all that. So there's no need to send us so that you can have it once we come back to you. So I kind of dispense with the idea that we're here to experience everything. You know, why were we created? Shit, nobody knows. Getting back, we were just created simply because we were just created. That's my answer. We because the all creates because it just creates. No reason. Doesn't have to have a reason. Doesn't need a reason. If there's a reason, then the reason is more powerful than the all. So it just did it because it does it. We'll never know why. There are some whys that we will never have an answer to. And it is up to us as similar style creative beings to reach the highest point that we can possibly reach in the mind of the all, which is millions of degrees, but never the top degree, never at the same level, because you cannot be outside of the all. Just like there's nothing outside of the universe, otherwise it wouldn't be the universe. That's because they thought that it was a material world, but now we understand that everything was lightweight. Yeah. And they did. They thought everything was a material world, not realizing that everything is energy. Everything is energy. What are we in next week? I mean, tomorrow. Where's my book at? Oh, it's back over there. Angelina, didn't nobody need your comment as far as watching the Falcons might be hell. Okay, you can keep yours to yourself, you're a Steelers fan. Truth Seeker say he's gonna be eating wings with C-Mac. I'm telling you, it is written that some are older souls and some are younger souls in age, and some are more mature and some are less mature. Yeah. And I don't know how many times my consciousness has been here. I don't know. When Siddhartha Gautama came to the Buddha head under the Bodhi tree, he said that he saw tens of thousands of lives that he had lived. Now, did he see tens of thousands of lives? I don't know. I wasn't him. I ain't him. You know, but it's possible that he could have seen some of the previous lives that he existed in once he reached the Buddha mind, the Buddha head. And when you look at a lot of the spiritual systems, it plays like the Christ mind is like, you know, we're down here. Then like the Christ mind is like 2 or 3 levels, 4 levels up. And then the Buddha mind is like 3, 4, 5 levels above the Christ mind. So it essentially is putting the Buddha head, the Buddha mind, to be a higher level of enlightenment than the Christ level of enlightenment. Oh, hell, Michael. See, I wanted to like you, Michael, but I can't. Well, in the 70s, I was a Steelers fan because I was a Mean Joe Green fan. I wasn't a Steelers fan. I was a Mean Joe Green fan. But, Michael, that Steelers stuff, I went to that Falcon Steelers game. I hated every minute of it. Because the person, Angelina, was with me, and she's a damn Steelers fan, and she was talking trash the whole time. But we had fun. There's a reason for everything. We can only speculate and put the puzzle pieces of this thing together. We are always seeking and coming into knowledge and wisdom. Yeah, it appears we are refining our souls. Yeah, and I can see that. We are refining every time because we are here to. Oh, YouTube didn't even tell me they can't hear me no more. We are here to refine it, to get better, to raise our consciousness. Raising our consciousness is the goal. To the level that we don't come back here no more. But wherever your consciousness goes, see, I don't think that's the end. It's not the end. You know, I think I don't know if we're doing the law of polarity next. I know we did law of vibration last week. So I think the law of polarity is next. Let me grab a book in just a second. But as far as existence is a pole, right? Existence is a pole. As far as there is to the left is as far as there is to the right. We have the swing, the Rhythm, swing of rhythm. There are millions of degrees of existence. Million. I don't know where this existence is. It might be way the hell over here. It might be in the middle. It might be over there. Now, because we're humans and we like to think of ourselves as greater than what we really are, we could be way the hell down here, but we think that we're way over here. And some of us, those who are in religions, they think that they are like, there's only 3 levels to this thing: hell, earth, heaven. That's it. Their own stories with Jacob's ladder shows that there are different levels, right? It says that angels were ascending and descending. Each rung represents different dimensional planes of existence. We might have to go through, every time you go to another level of existence, when you're in that one, it is time for you to learn as much as you can learn from that one. There's going to be good things and bad things, positives and negatives at every level. And then you have to learn to grow your consciousness at that level in order to get to the next one. That's why, like, they was the other, I forgot what spiritual thing I saw that was saying that, where there's the Christ mind and there's the Buddha head. If you go to the Christ mind level, you still got to go, you got some more levels to get to that Buddha head. You know, now it doesn't mean that you got to go one for one. Some people will skip, get to this one. You learn so much, you become a master, you skip. Now, if you're still a neophyte, you might just go like 2 levels up. You an adept, you might go 3, 4, 5 levels up. You know, you become a master, you might skip like 10, 12 levels and keep going. And that's a process of existence. You'll always go through that process of existence. There is no end to the higher levels of consciousness, because there is no end to the consciousness of the all. So there's no end. You keep going. I mean, think about it. Their own Christian books that we all grew up with tells you something similar, in the effect of everybody saying, oh, I want to go to heaven. I want to go to heaven. It's going to be a new heaven. It's going to be a new heaven. But even in the first heaven, there was good and evil, right? Existing on the pole. Consciousness of morality. Still good and evil. There was still war. Right? So you still got people fighting over ideas. And this is at a higher conscious level than what we're at today. But yet they fought. They had differences and they fought. Why would we think any other level is going to be any different? Still going to be some things that you're going to have to adjust to, overcome, learn, grow from. Just because you become a specter of light doesn't mean that there is no darkness that you can fall prey to, even in that one. And there will be conscious beings that will have something similar to religion in those. Do you buy into it, or do you grow beyond it? What are we doing tomorrow? Let me grab the book, see what we're doing tomorrow real quick. Let's see here. Tomorrow's, yep, the law of polarity. So on tomorrow, we will be doing the law of polarity. Talking about the pole. And then the thing about it is about polarization. Because the way the universe is constructed, as far as you can swing to the right is as far as you can swing to the left. So I want you to think about that. Some people's consciousness will go into some other lower level that is beyond, that is lower than the conscious level of this matter plane of existence. And they will exist in some form of hell situation worse than what we are in now. Because as far as you can swing to the right is as far as you can swing to the left. Until you understand polarization. So let me add more to that previous statement. Those who have done just so much evil that they really believe that they deserve the lowest, they won't even come back here to this matter level of existence. They'll go further back down the rung and have to come work their way back to this one, or maybe even skip them, but work their way back up to this one or beyond it. And as far as you can go that way, you can go that way. You can be way the hell over here and then get thrown way back over there because you just acted an ass, or you couldn't develop your consciousness at all. Polarization, and I shouldn't be saying this because we're gonna talk about this. I'm gonna say this shit again tomorrow. Polarization is being able to minimize the swing. To say, I might have messed up a little bit, so I had to drop down 3 levels instead of dropping down 20 levels. You know, so you polarize and you stay in here, and then you get a little further and you stay here, and you get a little further and you stay here, and you get a little further and you stay here. Of course, we named ourselves Homo sapiens and Homo sapien sapien. Well, I'm a big fan of the comic books, of the Marvel comic books, and Magneto, he named those with the X gene. So those with the X consciousness, we Homo superior. Homo superior. If you don't read Marvel comics, you wouldn't. That's foreign. But I'm Homo superior, not Homo sapien sapien. That's for these humans right here. I got the X consciousness. You know what? I'm gonna start. That's gonna be a thing. Got the X consciousness. Homo superior. Hey, Coach, what time did you get started today? Started daily. Around 10 o'clock. Around 10 o'clock. Texas goddess. Arrow, I'm actually a Jaguar fan, but I do respect the black and gold. I'm a Falcons fan. I don't respect no other team. None of them. But yeah, I know Texas got us. If you're in Texas, so you're a couple hours behind. You're an hour behind, I think. Well, it depends on where you are in Texas, I think. Most of Texas is in Central Time, I think. And then that like cut over there by El Paso is in Mountain Time. Yeah. 10 o'clock Eastern Standard, because I am in the metro of Atlanta. And depending upon if you're in El Paso or San Antonio or Austin or Dallas or Houston, it's going to be Central Time. Is when we try to get started. I was here today. Could have got started exactly at 10. I started at like 10:05 or something like that. Somebody told me to go ahead and set everything up last night, but I wanted to go home. I didn't feel like setting it up. So I had to set everything up. Somebody told me. I ain't even got to say their name. Angelina. But yeah, we starting around 10. Tomorrow we should be able to start right around 10. Okay. That'll be 9 in Dallas time. Yep. I might have. If y'all are ever in Dallas, y'all know I just talk about arbitrary stuff sometimes. Y'all ever in Dallas? They got this big ass flea market, right? It's big as hell. It's like huge ass flea market. Got some of the best street corn I've ever had in my life at that market. I would literally drive the 12 hours to Dallas just to go get some of that street corn at that big flea market. And I hate shopping, but I would go to that flea market just to go to get some street corn. So if you're ever in Dallas, go to that flea market, get you some street corn. Your life is gonna be better. That's one of them slices of heaven. It's one of them slices of heaven. We have a food truck here in Atlanta that sells street corn, but it ain't as good. It's good, but it ain't as good. but Dallas is good for that. But we are about to, for real, close the doors of the church now. For real, we're gonna close the doors of the church. But I do greatly appreciate you guys. If you're just joining us like Texas Goddess is, then you got to go back and watch the replay in just a second after we close it out. We had it was good. You know, what's wrong with the Bible? Exodus 34 and 35. Saw some more reasons as why we walked away from this religion, and helping us to continue our deconstruction, to alleviate any kind of nagging thing that's holding us still to this religion, because we were indoctrinated into it and we're completely surrounded by, you know, a society that tries to push it and promote it subconsciously as well as consciously. It is good for us to, if y'all aren't connecting with each other, some of us, as it was saying, as some people have said in here, we lose family members, we lose friends, some of us lose spouses and whatnot because of this religion thing, this control. Look, connect with each other. It doesn't have to be romantic or any bullshit like that. It could just be brotherly or sisterly. You know, connect with each other. You know, be a support structure for each other, because I don't want any of you guys to have to go through it like I went through it, of pretty much being by my damn self when I was a kid going through this. I was blessed to have a grandmother that understood and that and protected me, but you know, some of us didn't have that. So we do need each other. And of course, we need each other to grow our consciousness, which is why we're doing Kabbalion tomorrow. And we're going to continue to do other books on Thursdays as we go through them. So, you know, I appreciate Errol for donating to the channel. I appreciate you guys for sharing and liking and listening and that sort of thing as we work this algorithm and build it bigger and bigger, so that I can then devote more and more of my time to study and to do more lives and things of that nature, and to start, because once I move to Puerto Rico after the end of January next year, I probably will be able to change the timing so that it can be later in the evening, later in the day, and that way it's not as early. Yes, I struggle with the lost community. It's been rough, as I was a 3-4 times a week. 3-4 times a week church. Ooh. I remember them days. I was so glad my grandmother said that we ain't have to go that many times. Sunday, after service on Sunday, Wednesday Bible study, children's Bible study, Saturday or something. Shit used to get on my nerves as a kid. But yeah, we want to grow this strong. I want to grow this strong. Yep, standing strong. Yep, keep standing strong. And just from other comments, I know that she also deals with other things that most people in society don't agree with. So that makes it even more difficult for you. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but you probably do know what I'm talking about. But that makes it even more, because that's not something that's widely accepted by most people. And to hell with them. You do you. And if any people don't like it, they can kick rocks. Make sure when leaving Christianity, and you go into something else, don't carry the same God concept into them. The Kabbalion is Greek. We need to stick to our African roots. The Kabbalion is not Greek, although it is. It used hermetic. The term hermetic philosophy is used. The Kabbalion is cliff notes from the Emerald Tablets. The Emerald Tablets were given to the Kemetic people from Thoth the Atlantean. So, and Thoth the Atlantean credits himself as initiating the community in Egypt, in Kemet. So the Kabbalion is not Greek in its origin. It's just when what's that dude name? What's his name? When Pythagoras was able to learn from the Greek the Kemetic secret societies, the Kemetic mysteries, he then was charged by the Kemetic society to go to Greece and start teaching them, and that's when he created the Pythagorean schools, and he had his people, the Pythagoreans, and then they spread out through the rest of Greece and into the Romans, and then throughout Europe and the rest of the world. The Emerald Tablets is pseudo. If you say so, for you, it might be. But it tells us more about how the universe functions, and science has proven science is proving it to be more and more factual that is how the universe functions based on these hermetic philosophies. And the thing about what we was talking about earlier about raising your consciousness, in order to raise your consciousness, you have to stop looking at knowledge as being a racial or a tribal or landmass type of thing. Wisdom is just wisdom. Knowledge is just knowledge. It doesn't matter who wrote it. The author, oftentimes you will hear me say you have to know the author in order to know what you're reading. Yes, because that way you know what slants are in it. This is why you shouldn't agree 100% with any book, because you are reading the slant of the author. So even in the Kabbalion, it has the slant of those three initiates, whoever they are. And you decipher from it what's just pure. Even reading the Emerald Tablets, if not for the Emerald Tablets, you don't get the Kabbalion. So you don't get those universal laws. So now in the Emerald Tablets, when it talks about the 9 lords and all that sort of thing, I'm not going to say spells and I did once before when I first read it, but I'm not beholding to these 9 lords and all this kind of things. Because the more and more you read it, you come away from it different every time. But the pure knowledge of it, I take. When I don't care that Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor. The Emperor's Handbook, the Emperor's Guide, great Stoic wisdom. Some of Plato's, Aristotle wrote some bullshit that some people are determined, some people are masters and some people are slaves. But he also wrote some great shit. So you chew the meat, spit out the bone. You can't care about, oh, this is African or this is Asian. The Tao Te Ching, that shit just great. I don't care if Sun Tzu actually was a person or not. It's a great book. Outwitting the Devil, written by a white man. I don't care. It's a great book. See, I was trying to close the doors of the church. Y'all keep on saying stuff. I have no plans to return. I was a teacher, planning weddings for the church members, so that took up my time. Nothing has taken its place. And nothing has to take its place other than you. What are your thoughts on the, I haven't read that. I don't even know how to, Oasifi Bible? I don't know that one. You have to find other things to replace that, and you have to find like-minded social. You have to find like-minded social groups to do so. Yeah, find what speaks to you, like what Truth Sayer is saying. Find what speaks to you. Pseudoscience and pseudo Pipography. I don't know what that is. I don't know that word. I have to look that word up. Is that what those books are listed as by scientists and scholars? Okay. I mean, scientists and scholars can list things, but I don't necessarily go everything what a scientist or a scholar may say either, because scientists and scholars of the day said that continental shift was pseudoscience, but we know that continental shift is actually real. You know, 9 is early. Oh, you deal with a chronic illness. I cannot work. I also live alone. I need my rest. I watch. Okay, watch the replays. Sorry that you're dealing with a chronic illness. I'm sure you're working with some herbs and stuff like that. These medicines today are so chemically based. I don't even know. Let me shut up. I don't even know what you're dealing with. Yeah. See, I like that. Truth and Texas, y'all got some similarities. Y'all talking about some stuff. That's what we need. You know, connect with each other, grow with each other. Um, don't become enablers of each other, of course, but continue to grow with each other and become greater. Uh, and work your challenges, overcome your challenges. But you know, me and Infinity don't have to agree as to what the Kabbalion or the Emerald Tablets are. As long as as long as both of us are finding what works for us, speaks to us, that's what matters. What increases our consciousness, what gets you beyond um, what man has categorized as what, as far as, like, y'all know, a big one for me is race. I know I have to deal with race, and so I deal with it in kind, but I know that race don't exist, that is something that's made up. You know? So whether a person, I love the Kabbalion, I love the Outwitting the Devil, the Emerald Tablets. He doesn't have to. I think he's a guy, I'm not sure, but he doesn't have to agree with me. But he may find similar things in the Tao Te Ching, or since he said African roots, he may find similar things in Ifa. Well, you can find some similar things in Ifa. You can find some similar things in Kemetic science. You can find more similar things in Kemetic science with the Kabbalion than you can in Ifa, and mainly because the Kabbalion comes out of the learnings that they gain from the Kemites. Um, but whatever speaks to you, let it speak and run with it. Run with it. And then we share. We share with each other and we learn from each other and we grow with each other. That's the process. That's the thing. That's the growth. And hopefully we elevate our consciousness so that we don't come back to this poverty of material flesh. But for real, I'm done with y'all for today. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we're in the Kabbalion. We're doing the law of polarity. All right. So gear up for it. Gear up for it. You're saying, hold on, Victor. What am I holding on for? It has to be good enough for me to hold on. Otherwise, we gone. We out of here. I have ME/CFS, chronic fatigue syndrome, and I live my best life still. Oh, you take homeopathic things? Cool, great. That's funny. I was thinking about some homeopathic remedies earlier today. ME and CFS, chronic fatigue. I don't know what those are, but I'm about to Dr. Google. Dr. Google is my friend. Oh, okay. Oh, that reminds me of a client that I used to work with. She had MS. Oh, you would throw it up there after I went to Dr. Google. Yeah, and she had the fibromyalgia. And, her working out was really good. working out was a really good thing for her. I know it's difficult, and she had her good days and she had her bad days. She had her good weeks and she had her bad weeks. Oh, thank you, Victor. Appreciate that. But she had her good days, she had her bad days. You know, keep doing. And I'm glad that you're living your best life without letting it hold you down, because you shouldn't. You shouldn't. And the greatest thing is that you're working on your mind. Oh, it's the worst thing for CFS? Yeah. See, I just know she had the fibromyalgia part, but she had MS. She had MS. I'm glad you caught me, but you caught me at the end. So, Victor, great star. You know, the one of the jacked up things about TikTok is that you can't go back and look at a live. So if you go to my YouTube page, Why I Left Religion with Coach Renz, then you can watch the replay from the beginning and catch that. Because I don't know why just not in the TikTok algorithm. I'll look it up. Autoimmune illness as well. Many times past trauma. Can I highlight that? Oh, I can. Look at that. All right, peoples. It's time for me to actually do some work in here. Shit. Wait a minute. I need to highlight what he said so that I can look up these terms. So, like I said, I appreciate everybody. If you want to catch the replay, you're gonna have to go to my Facebook. Go to my YouTube and rewatch it. There's some people jumping on TikTok that I wish was here earlier, because that would have been interesting conversations. Oh, falsely attributed works text who claim the author is not the true author. Oh, okay. Oh, hell. I understand that one. People claim the author, but I'm looking at the material. Sometimes the material outweigh who the actual authors were. Because, yeah, you're right. Nobody knows who actually wrote the information that's in the Kabbalion. The book itself says that they don't know who actually wrote it. And they have no idea who the three initiates are. But anyway, no, we out. See y'all tomorrow. Talking about the law of polarity. 10 o'clock, law of polarity. Doing the Kabbalion. It's Thursday. It's book study day. And I'm done. I got work to do in here. All right. I got some other little short videos to do. Oh, you know who's doing the Kabbalion? Yeah, we do the Kabbalion on Thursdays. If you go to my YouTube channel, there's and go into my channel, there's a playlist that says Kabbalion, and you can see all the previous weeks of the Kabbalion that we've already done. Okay, so everything is cataloged on the YouTube channel. Why I Left Religion, Coach Renz. Just go over there and subscribe while you're there. All right. So y'all have a great day. Remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration, and I'm getting off here. I'm done. We gotta go. I got work to do.